Alrighty, Angry Snowflakers. I don't know who's directing this, but I did remember seeing some sort of agenda list.
Yes, we did prepare a topic list in case the discussion dies down or we just need to start topic. So I guess we just start with the most recent one, the whole Intel controversy, or as Team Blue has labeled it, misogyny inside. Now, is this actually them taking a stance on the whole GamerGate controversy, or is it just a decision for good business?
I would have to say that Intel is not taking any official stance on this. They're looking at this strictly from a business perspective. We have to remember that Intel processors are used by a lot of gamers. So when are emailing Intel saying, "Hey, these people are making you look bad," what do you think they're going to do? They're going to say, "Okay, this this is bad. This is a very how should I put it, toxic situation. We don't want to be associated with this. We're getting out."
Wait, have we already gone live?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on the
Yep.
live.
Shouldn't we like briefly introduce ourselves?
Ah, sure.
Fair enough.
Just a thought.
All right, then. Well, let's start me off. Hi, I'm Angry. I'm on the Escapist forum. I've been in GamerGate, I think something like day 3 or 4, and I've lost a lot of sleep because of that. So I hope this whole thing turns out the way that it was worth it.
Yeah.
Who wants to go next?
Oh, well, I guess I'll go next. Hi there, I'm the Internet Zen Master. People can call me Zen, Internet, IZEM, take your pick. Let's see, I've been, like every snowflake here, I've been really active on the escape during this whole Gamergate thing, and I've been involved in, or at least watching this whole thing play out since day 4, basically around the same time that Monday at
All right. My name is Wrathcore. I've also been part of the Escapist forums for a while. Unlike the other guys, I haven't lost much sleep over all this because I never slept in the first place.
Alrighty, I guess I'm next. I'm Breb. I guess you'd say a vagabond. I didn't find out about this firsthand. I got involved about maybe week 1 or 2 after the infamous post, and it was through Review Tech USA, and that just I mentioned it on NeoGAF, and well, the Strizian effect kicked in, and I started digging, and did lose lots of sleep, but I was either going to be gaming or doing this. This seemed more fun.
That everybody?
What about Harry and Phil?
Yeah.
Well, am I clear?
Hi guys.
Hi, Harry. You want to introduce yourself? You're already live.
I'm just a random gamer. Um, I'm not someone famous. I don't have a spectacular job or nothing. I'm simply a displeased customer of the gaming industry.
Phil,
All right.
would you like to introduce yourself? Or
Oh, am I coming through?
Yeah, we're hearing you.
Alright, sorry, I'm trying to get myself an avatar right now because I've never done any of this.
right?
I'm old. I've been through this before. I was a random gamer like what really caught my attention to this was before GamerGate started was a random post, Zoe Quinn, on some random forum, and then I watched that Jimquisition. I saw how all that came down, and then I started asking myself about how my big position on this is how they've been marketing fake harassment. And that's where I came in. I've been a long time escapist member. I like a lot of the videos, a lot of the things they've always done. But this really just made me, I don't know, just pay attention and step up. And then, gamers deserve something better because we've been shit on for so long from so many different angles. So that's me.
All right, now before we get started, I would just like to say one thing. Our opinions are our own. We don't represent anybody. We don't represent the escapist in any official capacity. We don't even really officially, like, we're not heads of GamerGate or anything, so we don't represent that. All of these opinions are our own.
Yeah, so if we offend anyone, take it up with us personally, leave other people out.
Yeah, agreed. If it's basically, if you want to have a problem.
Ah, okay. Internet Sandmaster is back. Yeah, so I think we should let's back to the Intel topic, because I think a lot of people from the other side don't quite understand how a company of the scale of Intel works. They don't just see a bunch of random complaints coming in by mail and go, "Ooh, we have to take down this advertisement." They think things through, they calculate this whole thing. So this was a decision well made from their end.
Oh, yeah, they got people educated that have lived their lives doing marketing, PR. They didn't just go, oh, we got some letters. They got the letters, looked at it, and then this stuff got moved up. It wasn't like just like, shooting from the hip for Intel.
No, businesses usually are going to look into things pretty heavily before they do. Like, chances are good they were watching all of the GamerGate stuff for like 2 or 3 weeks before they decided to pull their ads.
Oh yeah, I actually think we can be pretty damn sure that most of the AAA industry, both the hardware industry, because they have a very big stake in gamers, and the
Yes.
games industry, they have their eye on this thing. They know what's going on, and they are probably seeing both sides because they can't afford not to.
I have a slight economics and accounting background in business in general, and as has already been stated, Intel is, well, basically it's been basically, let's see, how many people you think in terms of gamers own Intel processors for their rigs?
Well, just about all of them.
Exactly. So having an article on Gama Sutra saying gamers are not your audience, gamers are over, and then basically tarring the entire identity, whether you want to consider it as a personal identity or marketing identity, with every despicable and negative stereotype going all the way back 30 years, or just does not reflect good on a company that has such a target demographic like gamers.
I take it Intel simply looked at their bottom line. They're a business. They want to make money, and yeah, well, just like what you said, if you're advertising on a site that is hateful towards their own consumer base, well, that's simply bad business.
The hilarious part about this is actually, Rathcore, go ahead.
For comparison's sake, how do you think Ford would react if Car and Driver magazine put out an article in their publication saying drivers are dead?
Well,
Well, a lot of them die in traffic.
Yeah, well, actually, there's that.
that's cold.
That's
No,
kind of-
I don't think it's.
depends on how many people actually read that magazine, or how many influence read the magazine. For one.
Yeah, that's the thing you gotta understand is like when you say gamers, like a lot of us self-identify as that, and then we're wandering around the internet. Like gamers have much more interest in the internet on social media than something like Car and Driver. Like they're already a niche market. Those people are where they are, and they would never pull some shit like that.
Yeah.
What those articles did just showed a total disconnect, like, and we've seen it from other developers, like I said, like the EA guys and other people I've talked to, is there's this huge disconnect between the marketers, the PR, the journalists, everything, and their consumers, because gamers haven't been that white, straight, cis, teenage male for a long, long time.
I think that stereotype's been dying since late 90s, early 2000.
Yeah, and that's how, like, and that's where it was, and that's how they kind of describe that hardcore group. But it's become so much more, because a gamer is somebody who plays WoW, who plays EVE Online, who plays COD, who plays, I'm loving Shadow of Mordor, and I'm getting the fucking itch. I need to shut up and kill orcs.
I'm watching a very sick gif of it right now.
So, like,
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the thing, like, I'm sorry, I'm going to shut up in a minute, but Total Biscuit said it on another stream, like, they could have taken those in such a more appropriate way to say that the identity of the gamer has grown and expanded upon that idea that it is, more than just the white straight male with money. Like, I mean, it's so fucking widespread now. It's one of the biggest entertainment industries on the planet. And we've never discriminated. Like, I've never cared who you were. Play the game. Love the game.
Just for the sake of argument, I actually had a brief discussion with someone on Twitter about Lay's article, and this guy is a dev. He looks at he was looking at it from the opposite perspective of this wasn't an attack on gamers. This was basically, like you said, this is basically just kind of a statement to devs and anyone reading Gama Sutra that these gamers, these core demographic that the AAA crowd panders to, the cis white 18 to 25 or 12 to 25 male, aren't your demographic. Are not the big. They've been done for a while. You have other genres. You have other areas and types of games you can produce. And if Lay's article had been published, say, prior to GamerGate, or not in the middle of it, or not in the wake of the what I guess what was still called a conspiracy at that point, if it had been published then, I wouldn't have much of a any problem with what she'd said, because, yeah, if looking at it from his perspective, it makes sense in that way. However, the fact that she goes out of her way to generalize everyone and then and stop short of calling us whiny man children.
Hyper,
Kind of takes away from
whatever.
that. Doesn't help that it's all the 10 articles parroted her general summary and then added their own gamers are dead shtick.
It that whole thing right there, that's really what triggered me because I figured I got involved indirectly thanks to Review Tech USA's article on the Zoe post, I mean video, but I was kind of just like going, then I saw that and I looked around and the more we've dug up since then, they could have handled it tactically and said the gamer base is now no longer like ethnic centric, it's everything, everyone can be a gamer. They could have done that, but that was never an intention. I mean, that's idealistic thinking now. It was never in their intention. It was they wanted to incite, they wanted to change the ideology of gaming, and the more we dug in, it's literally they want ideological change outright of gaming. They don't want it to be about games, about the mechanics being good, about story. No, it's some weird other concept.
It was interesting. The guy I was arguing with, he kind of basically said his viewpoint is the whole GamerGate thing is a lot of people who are angry and professionally offended, and it's kind of the from your perspective, looking at it that way, I can see why you'd think that. I do not agree with your view, but you're entitled to that. It's interesting to see how people who are actually, I guess, devs who look at this and aren't paying much attention can get that impression that this is just a bunch of people being offended for being offended's sake, which is ironic because that's kind of the same thing that's been happening to everyone. A lot of people who get attacked for supporting GamerGate.
If it were just about being offended by those articles, I don't think it would have lasted nearly as long as it has.
Yeah, but
It's really interesting. I mean, like some sociology students, our masters working, want to put together a freaking paper on this to figure out what exactly was the sociological reason this all blew up as well as it did. But that's another topic.
Oh yeah, I think actually in a couple of years we're gonna get some very in-depth analysis of this whole thing because let's be honest, this is maybe the first and definitely the biggest digital consumer revolt the internet has ever seen. I have been on the internet since I was like 8 years old and I can't remember anything like this ever going down.
Yeah, no, as one of the old bastards, I remember a world before the internet existed.
yeah,
This is the thing, like, here's what happened. Like, maybe more educated people will be able to explain it in the future, but gamers have been getting shitted on for so long. These journos have been just, like, laughing. Like, when you see corruption, like, we all fucking know publishers are paying for reviews. They're doing this shit, and they laugh it off. They don't follow it through. They don't fucking touch on it anywhere. They do all their other fucking agenda pushing. This has been going on for years and years. And finally, the straw fell on the camel and broke his fucking back. And that's what happened. It was the spark. It was the spark that just blew the fuck up.
I really
It wasn't Zoe. This shit has been boiling for since 2014. I can tell you at least 8 solid years.
Yeah, all the way back since the Dorito Pope.
Before that, the Cannon Lynch shit.
Hey, yeah, you're right.
I actually haven't, I think, mentally cynical ever since whatever happened to Crisis, one of the freaking best FPSs ever in world building and such, and then it falls straight apart with Crisis 2, and they basically lied, and no one told on any side of the media, or I mean, the game journals about it. So I got cynical very quickly.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that actually kind of, we could tie that right back to one of the topics we had, namely the whole stroll down memory lane and what were the signs leading up to Gamergate. Like we said, the whole Crisis 2 thing was basically the first instance of the journalists knowing that the product didn't even remotely live up to the promise, but no one said anything. So what were other indications that, well, the game journalists were actively screwing over their own audience for personal gain, maybe, and we don't know what it was, but they had some reason to lie to us.
Well,
And
look this way.
that's really my kind of issue is like, I mean, us as consumers could come out ahead because those companies, they want our money, not the journalists, but the journalists are the mouthpiece they use. So, you know, I'm sure you've all heard about how you don't get a review copy ahead
Yeah.
of time if you don't give us a good score. You won't get future. That's the thing where, like, that's one of those places that the foot has to be put down. You gotta fucking give a real review.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is actually
Oh, I'm
what's
sorry.
interesting. You all know Alien Isolation just came out. Now that news site Gamer Headlines, one of their people just did a review on it, and he gave the game a 9 of 10. But he actually went through and methodically explained the reasons why the game was good. He basically said it's a survival horror game in first person. It plays the atmosphere well. It has very little bugs, other than apparently some installation issues.
And go find me.
But
But
it
I'm gonna do a second live stream of Girls of Game.
Oh, hi, Ken. Hi, Jared.
Hey,
hello.
what's up?
Hi.
Yo.
So, what are we talking about?
Right now, we're talking about things that might have, like, warning signs that led to where we are now, basically.
Elaborate, please, so I can catch up.
For
Because I actually just woke up.
Well, basically,
Very
things like the journalist not reporting correctly on Crisis 2, not living up to its potential, or the whole Mass Effect 3 shebang, where they had to know that the ending would at least be
so
controversial.
how we got here? Okay. Let's start with we can start from many places. We can start with Jeff Gershman with the GameSpot Kane and Lynch fiasco.
That's one that comes to mind, and I wasn't that involved in gaming. I'm relatively a youngster here. I've only been heavily gaming for about 4 years, and I heard about that.
Okay. So, GameSpot were heavily promoting Kane and Lynch, like heavily promoting Kane and Lynch, pushing it. They almost look like drug dealers doing it, but I don't even want to go there. But at the same time, Jeff Gershman was assigned to review the game. He fucking hated it. He despised it. I think he gave it a 6.5.
something like that, yeah.
The marketers weren't happy about that, and they got him fired. You know.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. That
Yeah.
was basically the only guy who said, hey, basically, Ken and Lynch 2 is actually a pretty shitty game, and they completely killed him for that.
Yep.
And that's actually kind of funny, because that ties back to a thought I had earlier about the review copies. When a journalist doesn't get a review copy from a big company, and they tell him that because you don't get a review copy unless you give the game a good review, they shouldn't just cower down and go, oh yeah, okay, I'll give it a good review, but should put that in that journal. They should say, hey guys, EA just told me I don't get a review copy unless I give them a good review. You know, put them on the spot. And just because, like, back then with Kenneth Lynch, we as consumers should have said, "What the hell? You're firing a journalist for giving an honest review," and we should have put them on the spot.
Like, how insane is that, by the way? Like, if you stop to think about it, like, what if to be a press person, to get into an advanced screening of a movie, you had to sign a contract saying you would give it a positive review, or else you couldn't get into that advanced screening?
It's shit.
Yeah, that would sound very insane.
Like, how is there any other industry that does this sort of thing? That gets away with it?
The closest I can think of is the radio payola for music, but that's still several light years away from what the absurdity with review copies in gaming is.
So is it related back to pre-order culture in a sense? Because they don't want they control the review dates in such a way. Some games, cough Destiny, you don't have it until practically the day of the game comes out. Though, thank goodness there seems to be some signals, at least with the new Call of Duty, pre-ordering culture is not as big anymore, or hopefully it's dying economically.
That's another. God damn it.
Well, the only example I would know of from the movie industry would be when they just don't preview a movie, but that's usually when they're scared that it might bomb in the preview, so it's not quite the same thing.
Well, yeah, but in that case, it's nobody gets to pre-screen the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way the games thing is set up is you can pick and choose who reviews your game.
Yeah. Dang it. Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we hear you.
All right, good. But yeah, review copies. This is about, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Review copies aren't bad. They get overhated for no apparent reason. They should exist, but they should be recouped accordingly, depending on the connection that one person has with the developer. And all in short, product, or they should be loaned.
Actually, just an idea, something that we as consumers should demand in the future of the AAA developers, namely that they tell us who gets a preview copy and who doesn't, because we don't see that.
No. First off, they shouldn't be able to keep the review copy. You only need it for the review, right?
Right.
Loan it out.
Make it a loaner copy. That actually makes sense.
Boom. Make it a loaner copy.
Well,
they get it for a week or two, so they can get their farce of the game, and they give it right the fuck back.
And
that would only solve part of the problem, though, because then they could still say we only loan you a copy if you give us a review of at least X score or whatever.
The other.
I'm sorry, I gotta interrupt on this one right here. Is a lot of them, they do get those things ahead of time, and for a lot of them, you know, those copies, like if they get a physical copy, it goes to charity. Or there is the other side where some of them sell it off or go their fucking like
and good on them. We're not talking about, you hear me? And good on them. We're not talking about them.
Yeah, it's the transparency that has to be made. But the other big fucking thing that I want to put down on the early reviews is, one, the embargoes these publishers control, that everyone has to come out at the same time.
That's not going to end. And I'm going to tell you exactly why that's not going to end.
Well, and let me finish the next part is it's also the other part that if you don't give us the good scores, you won't get another one in the future from us, because let's be honest, EA, Activision, you know, the monsters and the giant fucking, you know, have the money, put that stuff down.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, like, and here's the thing I think is lost, kind of, is, again, for the gamers, for the consumers, like, we were the step up for the journalist that would do that, then those publishers would just shit their pants. Because
And
it's
here,
our
and
money.
here's the problem. Like
The problem is
so,
we
like,
haven't done it.
that's one. Here's another one. The problem is, like any form of criticism, of any sort of criticism-based journalism, um, unless you cannot, there are grounds against doing that. If you're not going to give up review copies, everybody cannot get review copies.
Oh, yeah.
It is across the board. If you're not giving up review copy to a certain person, no, you can't do that. Everybody had to either get a review copy or they can't get a review copy. It's what EA did, at least I would say that's the only thing they did professionally with The Sims 4.
Yeah, that's kind of what I meant with they should make it public who gets a copy and who doesn't. And if someone doesn't get a copy, they should state the reason. I mean,
No.
way.
You should never have to go to that because nobody should ever not get a copy. Either they get the copy or either all journalists get a copy or they don't.
I get where Kenny's going with this. If no one gets the review copy, maybe the sales don't come rolling in and they don't start immediately bathing in money, the first couple of days. Because who knows how many people actually follow journalists for their reviews anymore? But hey, in theory, they will. If the journalists go in, buy a copy, you play it, and then tell the people after it's been released whether or not it's good, like everyone else, and we have no way of, then they can actually have there's
not quite what I was saying. What I was saying was, in most criticism journalism, in most critique-based journalism, either people get a review copy or they don't.
There's no selection.
Exactly, there is no selectivity on it. Either in movies, every journalist are able to get into that movie, or every critic is allowed to be in that movie, or they shut off critique.
Shut them out.
Yeah, nobody. Fairness across the board.
Okay.
Makes sense. with movies, they kind of can't do it. They can't select because you can't just put a single critic in the cinema. With video games, it's far easier to just say, no, you're too small, we don't give you a copy. And in reality, it just mean, no, you give us shitty reviews, go play something else. So we need to...
Go ahead.
I'm not, maybe because I'm the youngster here, at least gaming-wise, and just youth here, I don't even consider the review copy a issue anymore, because I've seen two events cause two major companies basically almost 180. One was the whole Xbox fiasco, and that was internet backlash. But but I'll get into that later, and that's probably more relevant. But for me personally, Battlefield 4 and that fiasco, there was a few. It was a bad release. I mean, it was one of the worst I've ever seen. And I'm pretty young, but I've played since back in '92, and I went, "What is going on?" I know Battlefield's shaky on release.
You probably didn't see the Old Republic disaster either. That launch was.
Oh, I did hear about that.
Sim City's disaster for that one.
Okay, this one affected me.
Oh my God! Wait! It's like they all have a carbon factor or something.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, but
no.
I know, but it was.
Let's go easy on EA. They're being nice at the moment.
I know.
Well,
I'm
I'm
actually saying they behaved good. They didn't behave good. They responded to the criticisms that there's a lot of YouTubers in Battlefield. Like, it's one of the biggest YouTube communities outside of Call of Duty for specific game genres. The YouTubers went critical. They went heavily critical. Some went in technical detail. The community basically outlined everything they saw wrong with
rightfully
Battlefield 4.
so. That is like the YouTuber online shooting game of choice because of its massive multiplayer environment.
Yes.
But
I think that leads us nicely into one of the topics we wanted to discuss. Are YouTubers replacing game critics?
Yes, and they can't fucking stand it. And I'll explain how it happens. Both sides can easily exist. Yes, you can have the more personal. You have the more personal-sided the YouTube critic, because that's what. Now, there's a difference between being a journalist and being a critic. Let's get that out the way first.
Yeah.
There's a complete difference between the two. Yeah, you can go to YouTubers to be critics because they're critics. They're talking critics. And journalism can stay in their freaking lane and do the same thing by being journalists and actually discussing the facts. They don't want to do that though. And in a refusal to actually get onto the trends and actually learn about the trends and how they work, they choose to find other ways to get clicks and promote their label.
Sounds about right, yeah. See Polygon's killing versus kissing drivel.
Yeah.
The shadow of Mordor. Like, good lord, what was that?
Meanwhile, Dorito Pope IGN actually critically evaluates it and everyone's loving it. I don't get this.
Yeah, IGN actually gave the Alien Isolation game a critical review. It was like 5.9, I think. Whereas, yeah, like I mentioned, Gamer Headlines gave it 9 out of 10, but they actually went in detail as to why. If you're gonna have someone review something or critique it, don't give people fluff. Give them hard facts. Tell them why you actually get the stuff, the score you're giving. It's kind of a big thing.
Yeah, it's going over the game. It's going over the mechanics. Is it fucking buggy this? Is it this shit there? And like, trust me, I haven't touched IGN bullshit ever. I mean, honestly, like I've never looked at it, but with the whole Dorito Pope thing and all that, I was looking at it and I was like, yeah, move your marketing away from the publishers. Don't, if you're fucking doing it for the, you're not reviewing Doritos, you're not reviewing Mountain Dew. Make your money somewhere else so you're not beholden.
And that guy he gets a lot of flack, by the way. Jeff Keighley, he gets a lot of flack for that. When it's not his, and when it's not even his fault.
A lot.
It's not even his fault.
It's kind of like, that's just underestimation of. He's the fucking Dorito Pope. Like, we all fucking. Like, do you understand that there's millions of people fucking just saying that? I barely even give a shit. And
yeah.
What I mean by he gets a lot of flack for that is he didn't want all the mainstream outlets to have influence with his review show. The problem was the only way to do that was that he had to go through advertisers and monetize it. His hands were completely tied.
Yeah, basically he needed money from somewhere, and as stupid as it sounds, but now it sounds actually kind of smart, he rather went with Doritos and Mountain Dew than EA and Activision.
Go figure.
So either he chose the lesser of the two evils.
He chose basically an industry that doesn't understand gaming, so he can basically be almost uncorrupt as possible in this corruption.
And he ends up being the part of the joke.
Actually, that's exactly it.
And you gotta make your money somewhere. I mean, they can't fucking do it for free.
Unless you're 4chan Law.
Hey, we all love Hot Pockets.
Actually, this sort of spins into something. I'm in a mass communications class right now in college, but there's a subtopic in one of the books about magazines, and it drifts into a bit of the internet and I asked a few questions related to it.
Mm-hmm.
The magazine industry, along with the news industry, both kind of made a silly decision when they started making their websites. They didn't make a paywall initially, so they had to rely off of advertisement. And going from the traditional model of, particularly in magazines, subscribers being a big part of your base, to having websites like PC Gamer and Rock Paper Shotgun, but more PC Gamer was originally a magazine, but now it's a subscriberless website. They're dealing with ad block, and their money, and it takes a significant chunk out of their money. I mean, and the question is,
Have
do
you ever
eventually?
wondered why people use ad block?
I had
Say
an
again?
informed nerd that was a friend of mine, showed me how wonderful the internet was with ad block on. I never turned it off
I use
since.
ad block like almost constantly.
But what I'm getting at is they have to make decisions. They either make a closed wall and a paywall, but then if they don't have high quality content from that or don't get their name out there, they collapse because who's going to pay for it with the freedom of the internet? Or they stay free, but advertising is kind of questionable money right now. It doesn't bring in much revenue. I mean, even the big YouTubers, they have to reach literally insane numbers to actually get a decent income. Like, I mean, it needs to be at least 1 million to somewhere in the 100,000s to actually make a decent average income.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's supporting.
Exactly.
That
Now,
would-
what I mean by that is that the
Can
reason that a lot of people use ad block is because of how intrusive some of these ads can be, like video ads or audio ads or
Lord,
pop-up
yes.
or ads
my
that's on the
goodness.
side that use that background.
I mean,
Anyway.
full disclosure here. I used to hang out on sites like Gaia Online, and I was
Ads that block progression
derated
through
it. I don't know.
sites.
And it was basically, I had to deal with, before AdBlock, I had to deal with huge ass chunks of video ads at the top of a thread, and or autoplay or audio play ads, which audio where I'm trying to listen to music and suddenly boom, it random. I'm like, hi, I'm Billy Mays here. Crap, popping up. I'm like, hell. So having
what
that
about-
really helped that.
What about the ads that would actually minimize the screen you were looking at and just take over the whole thing with one big ad?
Had that happen a couple times, hate it just as much.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to spin this back into, what I got in my mass comm class from these pretty intelligent professors, some of them worked in the industry and such. It's, they either have to go paywall or they somehow persuade, it was implied, persuade people to turn off ad block with non-intrusive ads. And it looks like it's going the way of paywall / whatever better free source is there.
Instead of actually offering non-intrusive ads, or doing what they escape to not get ads by making a monthly subscription.
Yeah, subscriber model is actually the probably best way for them to go. 'Cause
Yeah, that's the pay
paywall
model.
is just stupid.
Yeah, no, the subscriber paywall is the best compromise. Like, you give a person access to almost the whole website, but subscribing gets like some perks. Like, I'm on Crunchyroll, and you can watch almost all the animes there. The thing is, though, being a subscriber is kind of nice.
And hey, if you go to Escape It, you get HTML5 videos. That's awesome.
So anyway, I want to go back to sort of the original question. We got a little bit off topic there. Why do you think more people are willing to sit down and watch a Let's Player just play a game on YouTube instead of just reading a brief article and seeing a score?
Seeing is believing.
More visual people might be more
Seeing is
visual than
believing.
just reading.
Like
But
I
yeah,
said, seeing is believing.
Yeah, they can't bullshit you. Especially, this is actually a game that was brought up with that issue was Stalker. I think the Clear Sky, the third game in the row, or something like that. That game was so broken you couldn't even get past the first level. It was literally impossible. And journalists could just lie about that. They would say, "Oh yeah, it's a good game," and they hope it will get patched out before the people get that far.
Yeah.
But a YouTuber, you see that happen. You see the game is broken to the point where it's unplayable. They just can't lie to you on that.
Well, and some of them, like part of it was, I linked the Total Biscuit stream earlier today. It was actually very insightful because he talks about some of these things. Like, they can see where people, like, he talks about, shit, I lost my train of thought. Alright. He talks about some shit, like, with his videos, they're unedited, and people will see, like, there's a bug there. But he keeps playing, like, there's the bug, like, so then...
And they'll call it out, too.
Yeah, no, and people see it, yeah, that's part of the YouTuber thing, is like, but also, because of disclosures, because of, paid branding, some of them will edit that out. It's actually in contracts, like, I mean, we talked about Shadow of Mordor briefly earlier. That was part of the contract. He actually talks about that in that stream.
Actually,
He had to. They actually had to. They are legally obligated.
Yeah,
there's
a bunch of rules that came out
ruled that way.
They cannot so people, like, I mean, people watching those streams will see. I mean, they can tell, like, you edited that video, like, you cut something out, like, if you're showing that you... So it's... Yeah, again, video can't lie. Like, you want to see it going on, and, like, people aren't fucking stupid. Like, we can see that happened. Cut something out there. You can't just sit there and say, "Oh, this game's fucking awesome," when, there's something missed there. Plus, with, like, YouTubers, like, again, I mean, I'm gonna say PewDiePie is a piece of shit. But with Total Biscuit, like, and others like that, like, you get their feel, like, you understand what they like in games. So they are themselves a brand. So you can understand, like, as they're playing something, like, I don't like Dota. I'm not a fan of it, but when he goes out his way to plug something I know he doesn't like, I have to take a look to it.
So is there any way the traditional video game reviewer or journalist could improve their brand to compete with YouTubers then?
Here's the question. What can they do that YouTube critics can't? Well, first off, they do have connections with the industry. Even if soft ones, they can disclose it still accordingly and still give us exclusive news accordingly. They still have the power on that end.
Yeah, and actually, the one thing that should keep the journalists alive is the fact they're journalists. You should get a more professional, more deep review from them. They should be able to tell you things a YouTuber can't, and that's the edge they lost.
Again, separating reviews from being a journalist again. They can get exclusive stuff that these YouTubers can't in terms of information.
I'm not so sure anymore about that. I'm not very sure about that.
Yeah, I think, like, Boogie, he's actually getting a lot more stuff and intel and kind of, exclusive information.
Katie Bolt? Oh, crap.
Oh, damn.
Hi, Katie.
Hello, Katie.
Is that bad?
I said, crap.
Hey, Katie.
I didn't expect you to be in here.
Surprise! I can't stay for very long, but yes.
Yeah, because I wanted to go into I was in Robin's stream as well, but I couldn't stay there because I have an obligation to the Escapist.
Did you guys know that there's actually like a Kotaku in Action thing stream going at the exact same time too?
Oh god damn it, not again.
I know. Like, I feel like we need to, like, maybe make some sort of Google Calendar and, like, people who enjoy the streams, like,
Monday night
we really got to give out more, having these all at the same
Monday
time.
Monday night was really accurate when he said, organize your stuff. We don't need to have 4 different streams going on at the same time.
Yeah.
We should just start a secret Google Docs group.
Oh dear.
Anti-GamerGate Pros.
GamerGate Pros.
Do streams? I feel like I cut out there, maybe.
We were joking around
Yeah.
about we're talking about having a private Google group, GamerGate Pros.
Yeah. Well, no, I feel like if there was like a Google Calendar, like
Oh wait,
maybe
we're not journalists.
people or something.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
would be a good idea.
I actually had an idea concerning that we basically do the whole 24/7 around the world thing, where we just say, okay, the European group has their own stream times, the American group has their own stream times, so we just have streams running all day long.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Of course, again, this would take a lot of organization, and GamerGate is very unorganized because we have people.
Yeah, I see this being an exercise in herding cats.
Yeah.
Actually, I have to disagree there. I think GamerGate is actually frightfully organized, at least from the point of view from the other side. I mean,
True.
the GitHub was up something like day 5.
GitHub got just taken down though, so.
Yeah.
I feel like we're accidentally organized, just because lots of people do the same thing, and so then it's like, you know, it looks organized, but it really isn't technically.
Well, I don't think we should. It's
Wasn't
announced that.
Wasn't that the entire argument for why 11 articles came out against us at the same time?
Yeah,
Accidental organization.
accidental.
That's a little more suspicious, but you know.
Do you know the metaphor about the million monkeys?
Oh
Same.
yeah. Infinite number of monkeys typing on an infinite number of keyboards will eventually write Shakespeare.
Yeah, I think that's basically GamerGate.
Well, and that's good about it is like, I mean, if there's one place that we could go, oh look, here's a bunch of streams going on, we know who's going to be there, who's going to talk, whatever, can I like make my voice heard there? Then that's better than, I mean, at least having that knowledge.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that we should at least attempt to have like you know, it doesn't need to be organized necessarily, but maybe have a place where people can go to like see what streams are going to be happening. I don't know. I mean, maybe even we could make like GamerGate Streams Twitter account, and if somebody's going to do a stream, tweet out
That would actually be a good
that
idea.
thing, and then we can anybody who's like, what's going on tonight, you can go and like see what's been retweeted on that account.
Yeah, follow the stream account, and you'll be able to see what happened today in case you missed it.
Yeah.
That's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah, is anybody interested in like starting that or like being behind that?
Yeah.
Hopefully someone.
Yeah. Somebody that has like a decent amount of free time, because like I recently got a bunch more hours at work, so I'm going to be sort of busy.
I'm actually just got hired I actually just got rehired at another place I was working at, so I have no more time after this. This is probably going to be the last time I have a lot of time.
Well, I know that there's a couple people I know that are pretty free. I could ask them, like, people that we know in GamerGate that might consider doing something like that.
But it's also like, I mean, if somebody's going to do it, then the support is there to help, and it's going to spread. And
yeah.
Or hell, why don't we just try and get like Sargon or IA or Monday Matt to get that set up, because they would be the people who are more believable.
Well, that might be a topic later on, but I have issues with both of them. But side topic.
Yeah, well, I mean, I do too. Nobody's perfect, definitely, but I mean, the thing is that if we got one of those guys to maybe do some sort of thing, you know, where we could just see a list of streams, since our voices are so loud, it would reach more people instantly, you know.
And it'd be more.
Makes sense.
If they were to put it out, if somebody else was to do it, but they were to put it out there or get in touch with them, they put it out there, then it would draw more attraction, and then it would be something more like, it'd be like, I know there's been a lot of the play against the organization, but if it was a little more simple, if you knew who was going to be where, who doing what, talking about what, then it would be better just across the board. Because especially for me, like, you know, I work plenty of fucking hours. Like, I can't help with any of that shit. This is my night off, and I'm itching to play Shadows of Mordor 2 because I'm fucking deep into it. But it would be something more easily digested. Like, I mean, if you knew what was going to go on, then people could listen to it and know.
Yeah,
Especially,
and then oh, go
Give me
ahead.
a sec, Kate.
especially let me. I want to finish.
Oh,
Especially
go
when
ahead.
it comes to the people like the developers, the people in the industry. Those people, they know where to go to listen. Like, they know they don't have to get their fucking shit from Twitter. They don't have to get their shit from these bullshit articles, hit pieces out there on how terrible fucking gamers are because we're not all fucking.
Because we're all misogynist.
Yes.
Yeah.
They'll be able to pick, they'll be able to go and look and say like, oh, and here's a stream, and look, here's a stream I know with somebody that I personally know that I've worked with for years is on, and they can listen to it.
Problem becomes, would they be willing to look? That is the problem with
I think
that. But,
many
yeah,
of them are many
good
of
strat.
them many of
Well,
them.
apparently Kotaku's next stream is their last. Apparently.
Really?
Okay. Any reason
Okay.
given
Why
for
is
that,
it?
or?
At least that's what I'm reading on the stream right now. Endgame.
Well, they might just be talking about what will be the end game for GamerGate.
I hope so.
That would actually make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
There is no real.
Oh, and King of Poe's gonna be on there.
Oh God, that could go either way.
He's smart, but he's crazy.
He's king of pole.
I think
Hey.
that describes like half of the major players in GamerGate.
Well, you have to be crazy to a certain degree to put yourself out there like they do. I mean, just speaking in front of 3,000 people every other day is kind of weird.
Well, the fact that we're crazy enough to keep this thing going for what, 2 months now?
Yeah.
I think we're all a little nuts anyway.
Oh yeah, that definitely.
We're not going anywhere.
I don't
Remember,
think that we're nuts. It's just that it's a hobby we love, and
Don't screw with it.
yeah, and we've been getting shitted on for years and years and years.
mhm.
And finally, it just said like many moderates, many people in the middle, whatever you were, like finally just said, you know what, we're done with this shit. We didn't want any of this shit. We loved our games. We love playing games.
That was what was so amazing about this was you have the whole thing is like, oh, they're just misogynists and right wing hypocrites. And it's like, oh, really? If they're misogynists and they're right wing, why are they funding finding capitalists and doing all this great stuff for women to help them get into the industry? But yet that has never been reported on, and if it was reported on, well, we all know how it turns out with hit pieces from Vice and such.
I actually have one quick question.
Yeah.
Did anyone hear a single complaint about The Walking Dead Season 2, like the main character being a female character?
Never played it, but no, I haven't heard anything.
Not a damn thing.
Nope.
That's what I
In
just
fact,
thought
she has gotten severe praise.
Well, I guess the zombies might complain there's less meat on a female than a man.
Well, it's the zombies.
But isn't that kind of the whole shebang
Oh yeah,
about the thing?
here's my sum up of the entire gaming of the evolution of gaming journalism, and I think it's from Critical Mass too. So I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm wondering what's coming next, actually.
The game you like is awesome. The game you like is terrible. The game you like is racist.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, I saw
I
that.
can't believe Escapist Critical Miss was calling this out that early.
Yep.
Okay, just a short shout out to the few viewers we have. If anyone knows how to enable a chat on those things while the Hangout is running and can post it on the Escapist forum, I officially give up. I'm too old for Google Hangouts.
I tried to figure that out the other day. I know it's possible, but like, yeah, does anybody know?
I clicked every button aside from the red phone thingy, which will kill the chat, and I'm not doing that right now.
Look on the sidebar.
Hey, I still can't figure out how to change my avatar to a W.
Yeah. It is. I have no idea how to do that.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm lost. I thought it was Uber conference, but nope.
I don't know. I'm probably not the best person to ask. It took me like 20 minutes to figure out how to send a tweet on Twitter.
Damn.
Oh boy.
I'll look into it for a second. See.
I was looking for like a little text box, and there was nothing.
At least you admit it, and frankly, you shouldn't be feeling that bad, because as we all know from GamerGate, Twitter is where rational thought goes to die, so figuring out how to post there isn't that surprising.
Hey, I'm just mad that I've been on Twitter for like 2 hours and I'm not famous yet.
I'm surprised I've managed to collect 66 followers. I don't know how that happened, because I try to just keep low profiles. Oh well, whatever.
By the way, because I just went on Twitter again after you brought it up, because can't check Twitter often enough.
Yeah.
You saw this poll going on the, I think, the Mirror, was it, where they tried to start a poll and gave 4 options, one being misogyny, one corruption, one man babies, and one, I think, why are we talking about this? So there was one positive out of 4 options, and within like 20 minutes, GamerGate completely bombed that in.
Yep, I remember that.
Because internet polls are total fucking shit.
True.
So rateable.
Yeah, it's just nice to see that for once it works.
It's also like
you don't have to have the numbers. You just need to be able
hello,
to.
Time Magazine in 4chan here, screwing with your Person of the Year thing once again. Because online polls so easy to make.
My favorite one was actually not when 4chan did it, but it was when wrestling fans did it with Mick Foley.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wrestling fans, we do it faster than you guys.
I just had a random thought going to the how scary the internet can be sometimes.
Yeah, sure.
Attacking gamers is like trying to invade Russia in the winter.
That's actually quite an apt comparison.
I had something similar in a YouTube video I put up. Basically, never get involved in the land war in Asia. And I said, Asia's the basically internet. You should have tried starting anything.
It was worse that you had to pick a fight with the channers, the Redditors, and the Tumblr folks at the same time.
You caused those guys to unite.
Yeah,
you caused the internet to unite.
I still think that's an unholy union. No one should have so much power.
The scary thing is, like, you drive the channers out of 4chan, you drove the Redditors out of Reddit, and Tumblr is still caught in a little civil war over it. It's like, so you drove two groups out. Now they have all the time in the world to deal with this.
Oh, and then
and
then you also draw one of the most powerful forces that the internet has out of 4chan.
They managed. From what I hear, they managed.
You managed to chase out Anonymous.
Well, Anonymous just went to 8chan, but what actually kind of funny isn't that regard?
No. That's the thing. Anonymous just went to 8chan. You think they're not going to do some damage before they start?
Wait, Anonymous is in that 8chan. Anonymous?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit.
Vivian and James led the exodus to 8chan, and the first act of revenge was actually them going after Mood. We found some pretty interesting pictures, which might just be the reason why Encyclopedia Dramatica has been down for, nearly a day now?
Yeah. I heard like one of those pictures was photoshopped, but the other one, there's one of them was definitely real. I'm still
I
like,
actually this is news to me. I've been like not on the internet for a little while. Like, what happened with these pictures?
Oh, smoke.
You don't want to know.
Elaborate. Yee.
Long story. Long story.
I've
Well,
seen the
let's-
smoke. I don't
let's-
know where the fire is.
It's not quite kiddie friendly. One picture is Moot having some fun with himself.
Oh no.
And
Let me
apparently
put
the
it-
other picture, I guess that was the photoshopped one, was someone else apparently was having fun with Moot's girlfriend in front of him. I guess that one was the photoshopped one. But the other one, I looked at it as long as I could bear it.
Oh no.
And
It's
Oh
I feel
no.
like standard be fair. Yeah.
I'm sorry I asked.
Yeah.
Ask the wrong guy. They mess with the wrong. Move.
Wrong-
Mess with the wrong people.
Long story short, do not piss off the internet.
yeah.
No, do not piss off Annan.
Yeah. You don't. Hell, don't piss off B.
Dude, this
I mean,
and it's funny because it's 4chan. This is Frankenstein's monster, man.
the amazing thing is that we've kind of discussed this ad nauseum on the Escapist forum. Why? Why this? And I get, in some respects, I get the kicking out the GamerGate threats. But after that, you go after Pole, you go after A, you went after B, and you went after this SP for basically saying, hey, what the hell was up with the censorship? Why did the mods think this was a good idea? Yes, sports.
They completely nuked sports. They deleted, I think, everything there wasn't the board. There was no archive. Everything was gone. They just nuked the whole place.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me that sports is also involved in
Sports came to
GamerGate?
V's aid when
Jocks are defending the nerds?
yes, that was
God. Guys,
Hey, jocks or nerds?
I think we need to thank the people on the anti-Gamergate side. They have apparently brought about world peace.
Yeah, they should just keep doing that.
the amazing thing is that we have to realize these jocks, they are actually now part of the gaming identity. They are probably part of the people who play the GTAs and the Call of Duties, the Battlefields, despite them not wanting to admit it.
So they're the ones I shoot often?
Probably.
So the Revenge of the Nerds went full circle.
Apparently, yes.
To be fair, Revenge of the Nerds already went full circle. One of the American Pie movies basically remade that movie in reverse.
True.
Actually, that brings
Nerds and jocks are finally getting along.
Did you hear the story in America where some guys broke into a arcade or something and threatened a bunch of nerds for their money, and at some point someone told him, hey, give me your DS, and at that point he just screamed no, went forward and threw a shit at him. And that what happened is 10 nerds kicked the living shit out of those people and threw them out of the arcade. It was literally the Revenge of the Nerds, and the whole thing was on video.
Oh my
damn.
god. I gotta look for this now.
That's amazing.
It popped up like a week ago, and I really thought, wow, GamerGate is happening in real life too.
Just don't mess with games. Here's the thing. If the people want to have their gone homes, their depression quests, and whatever indie type games that are artsy and people in general really don't like, that's fine. They can have them. They should, however, not expect them to get them automatically internet famous or basically big bucks, $60 purchases on Xbox One or PS4 or the Wii or whatever console you use.
Well,
It's a free market.
actually, this whole Gone Home thing where people said it's a walking simulator, I think that's actually also GamerGate being a little bit short-sighted because there is a very famous, very successful walking simulator. Only it scares the living shit out of you, and it's called Amnesia.
Yeah. There's
So-
also
That's a good point.
People play those games, they buy those games, and they can be successful if they're good. People just don't like to buy bad games.
hell, you could actually call Slender and Slender the Arrival walking simulators as well.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
they-
me and a couple of the people over at the Escapist forum in like 5 minutes came up with a way to how you could have made Depression Quest actually good and fun.
well,
But it's not
Yeah.
supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be educational. I know that
that word educational turns off any gamer. Educational game.
The game that
No. Here's the thing. I think you go ahead and said it best. Games can teach you without teaching you. You don't need to be coddled into being taught something.
Yeah.
Yep.
But actually, despite Jim Sterling being rather standoffish and saying, I don't want to get involved, he actually made a good point about this. If you want to claim to be a game, expect it to be critiqued as a game. So if you want to if you want to have Gone Home be treated the same level of critique as Call of Duty, expect to get a lot of flack for it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that statement because, I have no problem with a game like Gone Home being called a game, but you're definitely right. Like, sometimes they get offended, like, well, it's not supposed to be this or that, or it's not supposed to be fun, or it's, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, well, if you call it a game, then it's going to be judged, like you said, in the realm of what video games tend to be. I almost think that things such as Gone Home or Depression Quest, rather than being called a game, it could be, I've said it before, like they almost seem like art pieces to me, or or interactive experiences or something.
They're glorified visual novels.
Yeah,
they're not visual novels.
That's
No,
not
no, they're
visual
not visual
novels.
novels.
But I mean, there's no problem with that. But calling them games is going to make people expect certain things of them, and when they don't necessarily have those things, doesn't mean it's bad. But they're going to be maybe judged in a way that the creator, or the people that like them, aren't really willing for it to be judged in.
Well,
Yeah,
They don't have that choice.
Hundreds of
They don't have
years
that choice.
of preconceptions about what a game is, and they're breaking it, and they're jumping into the video game, and they're going, "Oh, here it is. This is it." Like, you played Myst?
Myst, yes, I've played it before. Played it on the Xbox, played it on PC, and
Great walking simulators with a little bit of puzzles, and that's a little bit about. She talked about interactive media. Well, that's a good place to put them. Like, and we are in that age where there are games and there are interactive media, and everyone has fucking room.
Of course.
And then that would. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm done.
Oh, I was just going to say that.
How to change my avatar.
Oh, I would just say that would solve the problem of games such as Depression Quest, etc., being judged of like, well, they're not fun. Games are supposed to be fun, and then if they didn't label themselves as a video game, then that wouldn't be something that's expected of them, because video games are expected to be fun.
I want to say something about that.
Entertainment can learn through entertainment, but they don't want it to be entertainment. They want it to be a fucking schoolroom.
But I also just want to say,
on the fucking high horse and go, "Oh, you don't like it? Well, you're fucking pig in the mud." We're not liking it.
But I just want to say that I don't think that's all. I also don't think that's a fair thing. Like, a game doesn't necessarily have to be fun. I mean, it's like
Souls could be.
Yeah, it's like, well, I mean, just even that. It's like saying that a movie has to be fun. No, I mean, a game can make you think. A game can make you feel like. Again, Papers, Please had me feeling miserable, but I love that game.
Yeah, I don't. I would like to to state real quick too that like I don't necessarily agree with that either. That all games have to be fun. I mean, for example, if you think about a horror game such as Amnesia, if most people play Amnesia, they're not having fun at that moment. It is an experience.
Yeah.
But,
Entertained.
so yeah.
Is that a better word? Entertained.
Did you?
Like,
I
don't have to go to some thick drama movie to have fun, but I can be entertained.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I wouldn't call Schindler's List a fun movie, but
yeah.
Yeah, it's like don't play these Slender games or Amnesia or any of those games. You don't go to or Five Nights at Freddy's. You do not go to there to have fun. You play them to scare yourself and crap your pants in some cases.
Yeah, guys, I'm gonna have to go. I'll see y'all later.
See you, Kenny.
Thank you,
Oh, yeah,
man.
sure, bye. Yeah, I think the definition would more be something that has to invoke emotion, but that's really not quantifiable in any way.
I was going to say
better
some.
word.
Oh, sorry.
I think a better word would just be engaging.
Yeah.
Like, Depression Quest was not engaging at all.
That's
No.
a good way to put it.
Yeah, I watched the Short Fat Otaku guys do their playthrough, and I'm just like, good lord, this doesn't even appeal.
That's what I was wanting to get into. Is if they went to basically the Eshiro Japanese visual novel territory where they'd be defined, they'd lose horribly. That market is so well defined, so detailed on their story plots, like it's multi-tiered universe, timey-wimey Doctor Who level stuff sometimes, and all the plots. Depression Quest wouldn't be able to compete in that market. They have to make their definition to sort of exist in the first place.
Yeah. But like Angry Snowflake said, games have to be, man, they can evoke emotion. I mean, hell, the flagship of the first-person shooters that was before Call of Duty, Halo. It is Halo. It is Halo 4 game. I'm not gonna lie. At the end, I was kind of crying because you can get a lot of emotion out of that.
The flagships for FPS I would put down as Doom or Wolfenstein.
Let me rephrase that. Flagships in post 2001.
Half-Life.
Okay,
Fair enough. Oh god, yeah, Half-Life. And again, like, I mean, that's what people make fun of Half-Life and shit. Oh god.
Doom?
I can't remember his name, the doctor that, everyone makes fun of because he's a mute. But that's what fucking put Steam on the map right there. And it wasn't like a brand new
on the map, actually.
It was just what they did with the genre. And like you can do so much more with a good game. You don't have to force it. You don't have to be so pretentious about it.
Yeah.
I would definitely agree, but I'm eating ice cream, so I couldn't speak.
There's genres, two genres, the Metroid Prime series and then the Ace Combat Glory Days, 4, 5, and 0. I found about those later on, both of them, but they are closer to what I thought I would see out of the medium by now, and yet I'm not seeing it. And on top of that, people wanting to only do story, yet I'm going, no, look at these games. They had story and amazing gameplay. Can we have both?
Yeah, I grew up prior to getting the Xbox and being introduced to the consoles. I was primarily a PC gamer. My games were the Mech Warrior series. So, giant 10-meter tall machines of destruction were kind of my thing. And I was kind of expecting to see a lot more of them. And we had about 2 of those in the console world, Mech Assault and Mech Assault 2. And then after that, it kind of died.
Oh,
'Cause
you poor guy. You missed Earth Siege, Earth Siege 2, Cyber Strike, all the mech
I'm a
warrior.
BattleTech guy. Give me a break.
Oh, you missed mech warrior through all of them. But no, I understand. Like, Heavy Gears. Heavy
Yeah.
Gear was something way back then, I think,
Yeah,
that they
but
tried to meld the story and that big mech game thing, and it was a great game for doing that.
I feel like that kind of actually ties back to see you get emotional satisfaction from playing with giant robots, quite literally, and that's kind of the thing that a lot of journalists nowadays seem to forget is a game that is absolutely marvelous for one person can be complete shite for another person. My cousins and me, we used to play for hours every day. I think it was Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. That game bombed with a 54% review in nearly everything. It was terrible. We played the crap out of that. We loved it. It had this kind of stupid childhood-like appeal, but only for us. Everybody else hated it.
Yeah.
And it's the same with the journalists. They may like Gone Home. Maybe they do. Maybe they really love it. But they can't expect their audience to love it too.
And I think the problem here is that I think it's a lot of people have actually pointed out outside of the escapist on the channels, on Reddit, to what's left of it, and even on Tumblr. I think the reason that the game journalists have this kind of collective mindset of one type of game is good, the rest are complete bunk and should be tossed to the side is they all.
Okay.
You kind of cut out there in the end when you said they all.
Yeah. Did his mic go out?
I don't know.
Poor guy, I know, is stuck in a college dorm, so something bad could happen.
Oh no. Man, I
Yeah,
was going someplace really interesting with that. Bummer. Shoot.
But it actually, at some point, I would like to bring up that has been bugging my mind for quite some time now. I guess a lot of you people had heard that by now, when you, especially on Twitter, you go there, argue with someone, and suddenly they pull out this, "Oh man, nobody wants to take away your Call of Duty." So why does everyone think that every single gamer is so hung up on Call of Duty and those mass shooters and stuff like that? I mean, the last Call of Duty I played was Modern Warfare 1, and the single reason for that was it was different. It was finally something new within with the Call of Duty series, and it was a great game. I loved Modern Warfare 1. It had drama. It had a character arc built in. It was a great game.
Because games like Call of Duty or Grand Theft Auto, like, they're the big fucking massive sellers, and most of the fans don't give a shit about this. They don't. That's the high number. You know, you're gonna get another one every year, so they just buy it, whatever, play it. They don't care about the rest of the shit.
Yeah, that's actually kind of the point where I was getting at, because I'm actually talking about the topic point Western gaming culture, video games, and the Second Amendment. Is when you can look it up for yourself. All you have to do is Google Wikipedia and list best-selling games of all time. You will get a list of 40 games, which will consist of primarily two different categories, namely Japanese non-violent games like the whole Mario and Mario Party series, and the other half mostly being American. And for me, it appears that the problem most of the journalists have is not actually with video game culture, but just American culture. America likes guns. Sorry, but America is gun central of the world.
I wouldn't even say that.
We love our violence.
As an American, I am fully agreeing with that statement.
Yes, this is true. As we do love our guns, but actually, I wouldn't say that they hate just American culture. I'd say that they also hate Japanese culture. I remember all the flack Dragon's Crown got for It was like that.
Dragon's
Otaku was
Crown, Sakurai
basically
Burst. The list goes on, even Quiet, which I do agree with, but I'm still going, it's WTF Japan. He's not going to change, you fools.
and it's like even Bayonetta. It's like it's Japan. Get over it, folks. They're
I don't
not
even think
changing.
I don't even think it's just America or Japan. You remember what was it? The Polygon review of Tropico.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it made me feel bad because I was being a bad person. Like,
They hate everybody.
It was the point.
I want to see the review of Dishonored when you go through a High Chaos playthrough.
well,
Yeah,
and with
to the
Tropico, that's always been the point, is that you're playing a dictator, like, but except you can be very good to your people. You have to work to be very good, but you can do it. And
Yeah.
it's
There is
too
such a thing as a benevolent dictator.
much
Folks.
about the feels. It's not about the game. It's not about what the game can offer. It's just about, oh, it did something bad, so then I'm going to go on this insane agenda-driven rant about it. Like with I don't know if you guys have seen it, but the Polygon, like, it wasn't the review, but it was the editorial about Shadows of Mordor, because you sneak up and kiss your
Oh
wife.
yeah, the op.
Oh yeah.
Oh, because
Kissing versus killing
you're going to confuse kissing with killing. Yeah.
It's the
Yeah,
kind of-
actually,
oh,
I
it's
think
so
at
many
that
buttons
point,
on it.
That's
I
my
think at
big.
that point they're just fucking with us. They're doing it on purpose.
Well, to be fair,
People
this guy did
actually
say it was an op-ed.
and they want to push it. Yeah, it was an op-ed. It wasn't the actual review. It was,
It was still pretty dumb.
but it was dumb as shit, because how fucking stupid do you think the rest of us are? Do you really think us, like, seeing that would equate sneaking up and doing something sweet for your love interest is equal to killing them? Like,
I have a question for the room real quick.
Okay, sure.
Has anyone ever played a game where the talk to character button was the same button as the attack button?
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
oh yeah, oh god, Skyrim.
It-
Just think about
Yeah.
stealing stuff in
Over
Skyrim.
here. I haven't, but that's horror story if I have.
Well,
Yeah,
guess
try
what? Now video games are going to confuse people into not being able to tell the difference between killing and talking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
'cause
trying
a
to.
lot of times. Oh, go ahead.
I'm trying to remember. It's like I'm pretty sure actually quite a few of the Assassin's Creed games that it's the same thing. I might be wrong, but it's just the. There's only so many buttons on a controller.
Yeah, and I feel like it's been a while since I played it, but Starbound, I know that at least there were a few times when I was playing my character and I wanted to talk to an NPC, but then I accidentally hit them with my sword.
Oh, but I hate that in
The whole
Starbound.
village, the whole village will turn on me, and I'm like, I'm so sorry.
I
I
hate
didn't
that
mean to stab you in the face. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you have to exchange items in the bar so often. You have to switch. Sometimes your weapon is on 1, sometimes it's on 6, sometimes it's on empty, and you always get it wrong. You want to go on a pirate ship, just buy a goddamn gun from them, and suddenly the whole ship is onto you because you hit him once with a pickaxe.
Well, to be fair, you hit me in the face with a pickaxe, I'm gonna be pissed.
it's true.
and so I don't ramble too much longer, but I understand mixing the buttons up, because especially on PC they tend to do that shit like Mass Effect 3, too many fucking the same buttons.
We have a keyboard.
But with Shadows of Mordor, man, dude, it's as fluid. It's fucking polished as hell. I haven't run across any real bugs. That's just somebody fucking pushing their agenda. That op-ed is somebody just fucking pushing their bullshit feels. And they gotta
Well, I
avoid.
wouldn't say it's pushing an agenda, like you said. It's just pushing their BS feels. They're just pouring out their feels onto a which is fine.
Someone get the chance.
Silly, but
You know how many
fine.
heads I've cut off in the past week, but it's okay. I guess they're orcs. They're not actually orcs because they're orcs.
Yeah, actually, I love the idea of taking a tutorial that let's be honest, most of the gamers hate tutorials, especially those you have to play through. And taking something like that, putting it into a new context where, okay, we don't teach you the sneak move where you have to sneak behind a guard for 10 minutes until you're shown. Yeah, we build it into a natural character flow. It's innovative. It's a new idea. I wish more people would do it like that. More games.
I was going to say, yeah, that.
Tutorial, like, I mean, I started off and I was like, oh shit, where am I at? Oh, and it has great characters. The voice acting in the game is excellent. That tutorial, like, I mean, you know, it puts you in there and you do it, and it teaches you. And I actually fucking enjoyed it. I really did. Like, it wasn't forced. It wasn't like, you know, you go here, here's the tutorial, how you learn. No, it did all that shit, and like I don't want to spoil it, but what you do in the tutorial for Shadows of Mordor, then the tutorial ends, and it's fucking heartbreak, and it carries on to the story for the game.
Well, but you're just pushing context, and context has no place in the conversation.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
But it's actually kind of funny that you brought it up because it just reminded me of the beginning of Dragon Age 2, where depending on whichever gender you choose, your opposite gender sibling dies. And I don't know, maybe this was thought about, but I never heard anything about the damsel in distress or damsel in the refrigerator joke being pulled there.
No, because Dragon Age gets a pass. BioWare gets a pass.
Yeah, but that's the point. Why does it? It's just, cut the context again. Suddenly it's different, but it's the same because it's different.
Well, I'm not even sure BioWare gets a pass. Maybe it gets a pass on Dragon Age 2, but I do remember all the grumbling about Mass Effect 3 for various different things. Not just the ending, it was the whole romance system as well.
Well, and there was plenty of grumbling with Dragon Age 2 because pretty much a lot of, like, because it's BioWare, so they have the romanceable characters, which barely make really any, like, they have very little content for that.
Yeah.
Very small compared to the rest of the game. But they were all what they like to call player sexual. Was a lot of them were pretty much, you know, you could bang them whichever way.
They're basically just...
But I don't...
It sounds more one-dimensional and objectifying characters than normal, than what people in the game genre community are accusing a lot of these games of.
Nice.
Oh, shit. I'm used to Vent where that stuff won't come through.
I don't know. I just had a thought actually relating to what we were just talking about. Like, so all of the people that are saying, like, you know, oh, games are super sexist or they objectify women, etc., etc. It's like, what if somebody made a independent, intelligent, strong female character who was like really well developed, like just a well written character in general, but then like she happened to have maybe skimpy clothing. Like, I wonder if they wouldn't be able to handle that. You know, because it's like, on the one hand, it's everything they want.
Call that Samus.
Yeah, well,
Before
okay,
Metroid Other M.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, most of the time it has the thing, but you know.
There were some issues with Other M, though. The story just...
Yeah.
It wasn't developed by the same studio, if I recall correctly.
It's not part of the continuum or the canon in my mind.
I'm pretty sure the majority of people consider it complete shite.
Hey, to be fair, Other M was a great game. I just don't know why they didn't put any cutscenes in it.
Gameplay-wise, maybe.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The only...
Yeah, but maybe it's I mean, it's from Japan. Maybe it's that again.
Yeah.
Some games from Japan just get banged on for no reason at all.
You want strong female character in skimpy clothing?
It seemed to be a lot of miscommunication. It seems some of the fans did digging. I'm on one of the AM forums, Metroid database. It it's kind of 50-50 on for and against it, canon-wise.
You gotta understand, Japan is a different culture.
I was
It's
just about, yeah.
culture, and you have to understand it. And you know what? I'm ready to move over there because they just don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
No, yeah, like I think that that's definitely a lot of the issue is that people that are offended by a lot of the games that show really like skimpy clothes and everything like that. It's like, well, in Japan, it's like that's the thing with that's how they portray women. Is that a good thing? Should that be changed? Yeah, I think it should be changed. But I mean, that's kind of like their thing. That's like a part of Japan's culture is that women are often portrayed in that light. And I feel like people never look at it from a cultural viewpoint.
But they also have no problem showing a strong, kick-ass, murder everybody in front of them chick in a bikini. Like they have
Yeah.
I can think of so many animes that fit that. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
Don't even go as far as anime. Just think about Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or how the movie was called. I mean, that was basically a schoolgirl killing everyone inside.
Yeah, they have no problem putting that out there, and then there's not, and that's fuck God. I just honestly I want to nuke San Francisco. I want to nuke New York.
Well, that's taking it a little bit too far. We can dial it back a
But
notch
all
or
the
two.
good,
Yeah, I'd like to be able not to die from nuclear fallout, thanks.
Oh,
but
dude,
all the good animation studios are in those two places.
Damn it, you're right.
that's where it's all coming from. I'm sorry if I had to put that out there. It's like that's where it all is, and it's fucking ridiculous out there. I mean,
Nah, you just send a message. You take out Seattle, solves the problem.
Boy, I'm from Seattle.
Hey, those people are not that bad.
Yeah, Seattle is a nice place, thanks.
Yeah, they might be not a little left for me, but I hear they're nice overall, and Austin's very similar to them as well.
Yeah,
Sorry.
And in Seattle, again, I'm one of those old fuckers that loved Nirvana growing up because I was like 10 years old.
Sorry, I have an irrational hatred of hipsters, and this predates all of this madness.
Especially if you live there.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you live there, it's probably worse.
We have to deal with it a little bit, but it's not that bad. And besides, you nuke Seattle, you lose Microsoft, you lose Amazon, you lose Valve.
I really wouldn't shed a tear because that opens.
I'm pretty sure they have fallout shelters.
They probably do.
Well, while we're on the subject of nuking,
Segways.
yay!
Segway!
How about this whole idea of, well, nuking journalists? I mean, we're seeing the first journalist losing their job, allegedly over GamerGate.
Who? Wait, what?
What was his name? Corey Banks, I think?
Yeah.
I heard he didn't lose it over GamerGate, he lost it over something else, but still, it's
The timing.
the timing.
Yeah, of course, the official reason is always different, but what we've seen from the Games Journal Pro list is that he's himself said, "Huh, my boss is pissed off that I'm on the list. Hilarious." And well, later on, that part of the list was made public, so his boss saw that.
That is basically, I'm in military, so I kind of understand. That's not like informing your sergeant or your commander about something that is pertinent to them knowing that could affect your career in the military. He did not inform them that he was involved with something that they should know about. That's fireable. Take out military. You don't do stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think actually that's something that will tie back to basically all the journalists, because this Journal Pro list, they're acting like it's not a big deal, but the original journal list was a huge deal, and I think that thing will just blow up just as big in the end.
Which I didn't even realize who one of the groups was that exposed the journal list. The original one.
Well, there's no real, who took it out. Like, Milo found it. Like somebody came to him and gave it to him, and then it's blowing up. And the thing with that list is the problem is that they've been all like it's all these other websites, it's all these people in the industry chatting with each other like they're all buddy high school click. That's the problem right there. They're all buddy. Like, you are professionals. You have a job to fucking do. Don't look at me as some old motherfucker who doesn't understand what ethics are. I know what ethics are. I know what integrity is. You can't fucking be like that with competitors. You can't fucking do that when you're disseminating knowledge to a consumer group. You can't fucking do that.
Yeah, that was the thing that kind of blew my mind about their reaction to it. It's like, you're competing in an industry. You are supposed to be competing against each other. Having each other basically collaborate on no. It's just frustrating that they didn't get that.
It's high school bullshit. Is they're all buddy, but they all are editors. They're all like, you see fucking editors of these sites, all these fucking leaders of the site, and they're all just going, "Oh, well, no, that's my friend."
Go ahead.
Well, I'll finish my thought. Is like, I mean, I know that's really fucking hard to do. Is that you have a professional and a personal relationship? It's hard to fucking do, but just to blow it off and go, well, then that exactly tells everyone what your mentality is. That tells everybody you're going to look up to your friend instead of your fucking base, the people that pay the bill.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that I don't have any problem with them being friends. We don't know if maybe, person A and person B worked in the same company together and then they went to get different jobs, or if they went to college. We don't know the backstory of a lot of these people, so just condemning them for having friends in the same industry as them, I think, is a little harsh. But I don't agree with the way that they're handling the friendships. Like you just said, yeah, you can be friends, but if you play it up and you're all buddy, and then like Zen Master said, if they're then collaborating with competitors, all that's not good. I mean, you can be friends with people, but then when you're in a professional setting, try and put yourself in like maybe almost distance yourself from that person, and then I don't know. It's very tough because on the one hand I think it's fine for people to have friends within their jobs, but I don't know. They're just not handling it well, really.
But
that's actually something, because they can't be friends personal, and especially the journalists with the developers and stuff like that, and journalists with the companies, they can be friends on a personal level, but a journalist has to push a developer. They have to push against them. So on a professional level, they aren't friends. They are not supposed to be friends on a professional level. They are supposed to be two forces holding each other in balance.
Well, I mean, to be fair, no one's saying these people can't be friends. You can be a journalist and be friends with a developer. You just can't talk about the thing that developer made.
Patricia Hernandez did.
And that's the thing, again, like, I mean, I'm one of the old bastards, I guess, in the room, is that I've seen these things connect. I've seen these people, like, I recognize a lot of names going around, but, like, you do make those connections in the business. I have the same fucking connections, but it is just learning the ethics. You gotta have that integrity. You gotta fucking know where the line is drawn. I will not go and keep for a contract on a corporation or somebody around my house, my place, for a friend. Like, I won't do that. I'll pass that off to somebody. But they all fucking act like, well, we know each other, so whatever. It's not a big deal. Yeah. Like, that's the problem right there.
Well, the big part that upset me was the first leak, where a couple of people were referring to what's her name, the developer, as a colleague.
Yes.
What?
Oh, hey, just gotta interrupt on this. So it looks like Sleeka just. So you guys have been following the escapist thread recently? Sleeka
I
just
do have
posted
the
something.
tab.
I'm
Yeah,
busy.
Sleeka
I'm
just
actually busy.
posted something, and looks like the reason GitHub took down the whole well Operation Disrespect Nod is because someone talked to a developer at GitHub in San Francisco. Again, we come back to San Fran.
Yeah,
Is
I
what
want this. Yeah, let's let Phil go back to his thing.
Sorry, Phil. Just kind of ignored me. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I was doing a thing.
Oh, that's fine.
No, it really, like, that's the thing. Like, when I contract out to somebody, if I know them, if I have connections, then I pass it off to somebody else. Like, and that's the thing. Like, looking at them, they're just. I know as a gamer for so long that they are tight knit, and it is that thing. Like, but you have to make that disconnection. Like, and if you're not going to do it and you can't do it, you got to put it out there, and it's got to be out front.
Yep, exactly. At least
That
have like an editor's note or something that, will explain the relationship with this person that you have, so that people are aware of that before they read the article. Because if you don't explain that, then you're not letting people know that, hey, what I'm writing here may be biased and this is why. You're hiding that from them unless you tell them.
maybe no, you telling them it is biased because you know that person.
hmm
That's the thing. Like, you got to put it out there. And finally, like, I mean, I'm going to go back one way, is that I think Gamergate could have happened 7 years ago with the Ken Lynch thing, but we hadn't been getting shit on for so long, and there's so many other shit on it. But also Total Biscuit. Like, I linked the stream earlier. I can link it again. He talks about this is where he makes that disclosure, and he loses 30% of his YouTube stream at that point, but then it goes down steadily. So it's people want to hear what you want to say, like, but if you're gonna be fucking biased about it, then they don't want to hear it.
Actually,
And I
about
say
the whole.
fuck a lot.
All right. The whole gamer journals list. If they were on the up and up and had something like, say, the Associated Press, that is considered one of the best things for the journalists in the United States, I think world too. If they had that on the up and up, where they collaborate, and this is where we get like news blasts from the AAAs and all that, or a random indie comes up with something great and Associated Press puts it, or the gamer equivalent puts it out, that'd been fine. That's that the journalists, actually, the regular ones back in, I think, 2009, had a similar list, and it got just as much heat, is because if you have these collaboration networks, they're supposed to be, oh, this is the network that we all know of that is all these people are under, and this is how things are disseminated. It's not like we're doing this under the table, here's your money, here's,
The thing in 2009, wasn't that the original journo list?
Yep, that's how we got the nickname for this.
Yeah. Well, no, that's how they got the nickname for it.
Yeah, but
That's
it's kind of that you have to rely with journalists that there is this sort of competition that they will look on each other's fingers and make sure. Yeah, basically, what I've been missing for the last couple of years from games journalists is them reporting on each other, reporting on each other's fuck ups, because that's a sort of quality control that has simply been removed. It's basically the peer review of gaming journalism. It's just like some people want to remove peer review from academia. Game journalists successfully removed peer review from the journalistic process.
Yeah, and now we've got all these up and coming news sites. You get review sites or ones that have been kind of in the background that have basically started calling these other journalists on their crap. So now we have some, I guess, peer review, but not very much to do anything, because other than the escapist, who hasn't really done anything other than just let the discussion happen, we don't see a lot of, I guess, criticism of fellow colleagues, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah, that was actually a really interesting thing to bring up. You're right. It is really rare to see that kind of stuff.
So
how do you think all of this would have gone down if the escapist hadn't let us talk about it?
I'd be a vagabond on V8.
Actually,
Yeah,
I'm not quite sure. I think it's a very good question, because not only did the escapists provide a platform for discussion, but it also basically kept hope alive. I mean, for a certain window of time, it was the only big site. I think there was a thread on MMO Champion, but that was going very, very slow. So GamerGate was the candle in the darkness on the escapist.
Yep. The only, I've never been in much of a channel before, but if the escapist hadn't done it, hadn't been covering it, or been banning discussion, I would have probably ended up becoming an anon on 4chan and V, and probably ended up now on Infinite Channel.
Well, I haven't touched 4chan in 6 years, something like that. But I think it's a conflagration. Like, all this shit just fucking happened, and it pulled all kinds of people together. And the thing that connected everybody was we like games.
Yeah.
That's it. It doesn't matter what sites you go to, what you do, what your political bullshit. It was like, what the fuck is going on with the games? And we've been seeing it for a couple of years. I don't want to start talking about, like, other bullshit that these sites have been force feeding into the media. Like, there are the big sites that have been force feeding certain narratives out there, but
Kotaku.
Yeah. Well, most all of them, including many devs and other shit, but finally it just went, again, the straw that broke the camel's back. Like, we're done with this shit. We want fucking good games. We don't care what it is. We want a good game.
Yep. And that's kind of where we ended. That's kind of how we got here, is because people only put up with BS agenda pushing for so long before they just kind of say, enough, we don't want to hear your crap.
Yeah. That's an art. Oh, I was just going to say that's like an argument that I hear sometimes about Gamergate, where it's like, Gamergate was an organized attack on one woman, and I'm like, well, no, it wasn't. They're like, well, then why didn't Gamergate happen before? Like, when this happened or that happened a couple years ago, and I'm like, well, it's because it built up so much, and we couldn't take it anymore, and then finally, all this stuff happened, and just a huge group of people said no, and then Gamergate pretty much came from that.
Yeah.
How can you say that if you have not been paying attention to gaming culture?
Yeah.
Well, pissed about everything. They were pissed about Kane Lynch. They were pissed about DoritoGate. They were pissed about everything else. They were pissed about the fucking journalists and the publishers just saying, hey, we're buying reviews and we're not even going to give a shit about you.
Well, again, another part of the build-up to it was we all sort of knew. We just never had proof.
I think it's actually kind of like the Edward Snowden of gaming, because we all kind of suspected, but no one. It's all out own fault. We were all too damn lazy to get engaged in it. It took something big to blow up, and just like with Edward Snowden, suddenly all those people who for years have been saying, look, there is collusion, those people are cooperating, they're suddenly right. All those tinfoil hat wearers from the past 10 years, they are right now.
Yeah, you're actually pretty more accurate on the Snowden thing, because before Snowden, people had known there had actually been a leaker before him who had gotten ousted, and basically got his life destroyed by the NSA, and he was a big-time executive in the agency, and he didn't leak anything major like Snowden did, so he was kind of the Gertzman of that whole thing. And
speaking of which, quick shout out to the NSA.
Hi, NSA.
How you doing?
Hello from Europe, NSA. You can't get us here.
We promised the joke about nuking San Francisco as a joke.
War games, anyone?
Yep.
Do you want to play a game? Yeah.
Can I just say how I'm sorry? I'm kind of multiple things. Can I just say how strangely racist and misogynistic the phrase "weaponized minorities" is?
Strangely.
Yeah.
No.
Nothing strange about
Actually,
it.
I think it sounds kind of awesome. If someone said I was a weaponized minority, I would feel fucking great.
Yeah, it.
I just meant sort of the implications of it seem
Yeah, it
really
does.
sexist and racist.
Yeah, sure, but
It's not even. That's not even the worst thing they've said. You always hear about it's harping on about shield and everything. And it's just like, did you just say people of color? It's kind of the. Are we in the 1950s? Did I?
Hey, at this point, with
did I
as
step
many
into a TARDIS?
people as there are,
Well, it's because you don't know what the hell you could say, depending
Just
on
say person.
yeah.
like you just don't know. Like, especially again, like I grew up African American. I don't respect African American. You're an African or you're American. You came from one place or the other. I don't care. I think I went over this with the stream earlier this week. Is that I'll say that word, and I won't even say that word because we're live.
Please don't.
Please don't.
Yeah.
It's not live broadcasting. SEC rules do not count.
But
Yeah,
I mean,
we still
We
should.
are not whole.
but I mean, I am as white as frozen chicken, and I have no problem saying that word. Like, you just
As
you
a
have
white
to be in
As a
people-
white person who lives in the South, I do have a very big problem with that word.
Well, considering you live in the South and the
And
context
I understand
there, I can understand that.
Yeah.
But I also understand that. I mean, I have to look at it when I'm called a cracker.
yeah,
Like,
that's kind of comical.
there, like, I mean, it took me a minute, like, to understand, like, why does why does that get a pass if I can't respond in the same vile way?
Here's the problem. There was an image of like the CNN debate on that, and it was like cracker or quote the N-word, which is worse. The one you can't say on television.
Yeah, that one kind of is not debate. It's the one you can't use on television. That's an obvious one.
But
Yeah, I think. Oh, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and now I've lost my thought, of course. So, I also sort of have a problem with that, because it's like when minorities, get to speak up against people, calling them a certain stereotypical word, but then if they say that kind of stuff against white people or whoever is oppressing them, then it gets free pass. And what I've heard about that is that it's like, well, you know, so you guys have no, well, yeah, it's like, well, okay, white people have no worry about being oppressed or being, you know, attacked or et cetera, and then, you know, these other people, meanwhile, they do have to worry about that. So when they say that to a white person, it really isn't, you know, honestly as hurtful as if it was the other way around. And while I see that logic, I just, sorry, I'll finish my thought real quick.
Yeah,
while I see that logic, I just, you know, I would rather nobody say that kind of stuff to each other, whether you're a minority or not. That's my take on it, but, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, can't we all just get along?
You actually just, Katie just pretty much described in a nutshell what my friend who, she's in an SJW and she is a black woman, unquote, and she is basically, she's SJW, she's active on Tumblr, she's a very active social justice activist person, and pretty much what Katie said about the whole thing, whites being the majority, it's the whole, white people have this privilege of have been born with, so we are not, since we are the majority, we should be able to take more crap from other people and put up with it because we are better off or something, which I get the logic behind it, but at the same time, it's comes across as insanely hypocritical.
Get the logic.
There's one small problem with that, though.
The logic when it gets used against you, because I've lost out to affirmative action.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Real quick though, there is sort of one issue I want to mention though is, like I said earlier, I live in the South, so you said context is important, right?
Yep.
There's a lot of context behind that word that's not behind things like cracker, so
No.
I kind of don't think they're comparable.
Yeah.
In the same way.
On the other hand,
it's a big cultural thing with the words that are used, but you know what? I know, again, context. I know when someone's calling me a cracker in a fucking derogatory term, and I know when, you know, look, my cracker. Like, I know the difference. There's a difference there.
There's
I'm not
an
saying
thing.
There's a lot of, like, you know, yeah, there's a lot to these words. I mean, I write a lot on forums, other shit. I won't ever type that shit out. Either way. I don't ever, you know, type it out to people that way because, again, when you're typing, Twitter, that shit, all of that, you lose the context.
No tone, no intonation. You can't tell if it's sarcasm or not unless you add the tag. And
yeah, that's exactly it.
On Twitter, you can't add the tag. There's that minor little problem about that. It's rather frustrating, to be honest. But hey.
Yeah, that's also just being slightly internet savvy. There is ways you can say things sarcastically, but it requires a lot more English variability than most people have skills for.
Yeah. Am I the only one? I'm not. I've seen people joke about this for weeks now, but how hilarious is it that most of the people on the other side who are claiming all of this stuff are mostly white people?
They're white upper-class males.
Well, let's be fair. There's a fair number of women in there too, but they're also...
Oh, there's a huge number of women.
They're just also white women, so it's just a lot of white people trying to speak for everybody.
Yeah, actually, going back to my friend from Tumblr, she actually hates the white SJW type women because they come off as so arrogant, so self-centered, and they're only doing everything so it benefits them, and and in her words, damn anyone else. The hell with anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
As long as their stuff's protected, they don't give a fuck.
And I think that is where all the anger towards Not Your Shield comes from, is they honestly thought all these different minority groups had their back and that they were speaking for these people, only to have it thrown in their face, and they just could not deal with it.
Not your shield.
Which is why they were so desperately latching on to the, oh, they're just coming to couch from 4chan, and you must be having internalized misogyny, which is the most bull crap
And
you've ever heard.
Yeah.
The only way you can have agency is if you agree with me.
Yeah. Which is why, as much as Monopolis is so controversial, but it's like, you can't attack him for being a straight white male. That's just the most hysterical part about it.
It's like all their bullets are designed to take down vampires, except there's not one vampire here.
Yep. Army of werewolves.
Yep, werewolves. Gamergate is werewolves, confirmed. This Halloween will just all transform and take over the world.
Wait, Gamergate is werewolves confirmed? Half-Life 3 confirmed.
Not crap. So wait, does that make us Team Jacob?
Oh no!
Had to go there.
Oh no!
No.
I already promised to grow my beard out. I'm gonna be a lumberjack for Halloween.
Unfortunately, I have to shave, but that sounds good.
Screw your werewolves. Screw your fucking vampires.
Monty Python song now.
You don't want to be Abraham Lincoln vampire hunter with the beast axe and shit.
That's better. But yeah, honestly, even targeting people with the whole misogyny accusation, it's lost all meaning in the game.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, it's the boy who cried wolf.
Well, it's because they've been using it for what, the last 2 years, ever since Anita Sarkeesian came on the scene.
No, at least
they've been using it forever, like
10 years, many years, yeah.
But a lot more so.
Well, yeah, I mean, much more in the internet culture and everything they've been throwing out. And if you dare criticize me, ask me a question, you're a misogynist, you're a sexist. Like, it doesn't mean anything now. Like, I knew what that word meant, but years ago, like, I mean, if I was to tell you 10 years ago somebody called me a misogynist, I would have fucking stopped talking, I would have sat down and thought about it. Like, now, if somebody said that to me, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. Like, it doesn't fucking mean anything. Like, that's a terrible, like, it's lost all gravity. Like, that word meant something.
It's exactly the whole thing. To say the whole thing too. I mean, I know it's just slightly tangent, but the whole thing with everybody saying, the whole big rape culture thing. By making it so that if somebody stares at you for too long, it could be considered a sexual assault.
Stare rape.
I know it's like that devalues the actual assaults or rapes that happen. And then it makes it so that if somebody comes and reports that, then they're not believed because they're like, okay, did this really happen? Or was it just like, some guy looked at you and you didn't like that?
This is the
if you're hot, somebody's going to look at you, be they male or female.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's called, we need the eyes to see it. We can't.
Well, you might be able to learn.
Here's where I see it. I see that's where this whole, like, as if we're gonna go into the social justice warrior aspect of it, I think that's where they lost.
Ew.
Because if all they were doing was trying to get rid of the misogyny and the racism in gaming culture, I don't think there would have been as much of a problem. Just because, but the way they messed up is they targeted all gamers, saying that we're all misogynist and all racist, and that was their moment of
shittier. Yeah.
Like if all they wanted, if all they wanted to do was get rid of the worst aspect of gaming culture, I would have been for it.
Yeah.
But you can't throw the baby out with bathwater, you know?
Yeah. I think that we should. I'm going to have to go in a moment, but I'll leave with this statement that I think that you're right. Like their whole thing that made them lose was just that they just used a blanket term for all of us, and it backfired. But I think that we should also try and avoid doing that to them back, even though like the majority of them are incredibly, really, questionable. Ridiculous and questionable people. Mm-hmm. I do have a couple social justice warrior friends who like sort of have that mindset, but are like reasonable and like I can discuss with them, and they're not crazy. So
I'll admit to it right now. I've been a social justice warrior.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
The social justice crowd, even on Tumblr, is intended to be a force for good. It has been a force for good in the past, but this clique, apparently located in San Fran, has just warped everything it means so that it doesn't really have any more weight, and that when everything is just useless in terms of.
Well, I say this again as someone who has done a lot of social justicing in the past. The people on the other side of this aren't for social justice; they are extremists.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
They're making it worse for the actual people who do want equality and to get rid of some of the more harmful aspects of culture.
Yeah, I think it's actually kind of the same with the whole abuse, how they call it. I mean, like I said, just the other day I was accused of abuse for a snarky comment. And actually I think it's kind of disheartening that they use this term, because there are a lot of people out there who suffer actual abuse, and they degrade the term, they belittle the trauma those other people went through.
Yep, that's exactly it. Yeah.
And it's very much that going along with the lines of social justice and being corrupted by the extremes and not being able to get to real goals. There's a lot of stuff throughout society that could be discussed reasonably and shouldn't have studies on, but because one extreme point of view is usually given more attention, or they dominate the information feed, you get warped views, and then you don't actually realize you're doing something wrong because all the information you got is not actually what's really going on.
Hi, game journalists.
and then you go and turn in a.
It's as many game developers that are, like, I like the phrase naive, with the best intentions.
Road to hell and all.
That's why I don't like social justice. Just call them what they are, fascists. Is what they are. They want you to believe them. Listen and believe. That's the thing going around. Listen and believe. Don't fucking think. Listen to
it. This thing is just so ridiculous.
But that's the tricky thing with the whole social justice thing is, well, social justice really doesn't mean anything.
It is an adjective in front of a word that really doesn't need it. Justice is a legal thing.
It's a shield. It's exactly what they're using shields, because the moment you go up to someone and say, "Hey, I'm just, I don't know, don't take warrior, take advocate," it's less aggressive. "I'm a social justice advocate," and everyone will go, "Hey, that sounds awesome. You sound like a positive guy." And it's polishing shit. I don't know if the saying doesn't exist in German, but I think in America it exists. Polishing a turd.
Yep.
Well, to be fair, like, I think the idea of social justice is usually when you think of justice, you think of laws.
Social justice is more just basically, well, actually, Rathcore can probably describe it better than I can. So I'll let him talk.
What do you want me to explain?
Well, you have a better understanding of social justice from what it actually is supposed to be instead of what People are
Oh,
infringing
well, I mean,
right now.
well, like I say, you say that it should just be justice. Well, justice has this connotation with law, and certain things that are wrong aren't necessarily illegal. So that's why they kind of throw social into it. Is we're trying to bring justice to things that aren't necessarily illegal.
Yeah, but actually for me it was quite the opposite, the other way around, namely that you put the social into the justice. It just came back to this quite old example of this unsolvable riddle. How do you deal with the mother that steals food for a starving child? This is a conundrum the law itself can't solve. Social justice, on the other hand, would say, okay, it's actually pretty damn easy. You could let the child have the food. You make sure that the mother is not homeless and broken, so that she in future can't feed her child. That's social justice. You still find some sort of punishment for her, but at the same time make sure the crime doesn't get repeated because the circumstances change.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I get that, but that's something where the government, at least from my point of view, should not be involved in. That's more society has to solve that issue outright. Government's only traditionally been involved with and only should be considered with the Roman concept of basically the goddess of justice. Invisible does not see anything, only weighs it on the legal of the situation, and I don't mean legal, but the traditional common law setup,
Well,
where our
there's
law comes from, at least in the United States.
also a larger cultural aspect to it.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna have to step out, guys, because I'm going to a metal concert tonight that my friend invited me to. So.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Which band?
They're a local band. They're called Noble Beasts. They're a local Minneapolis band. They're actually really good. So.
Okay, sounds cool. Have fun.
You have a fun.
Rock on, rock on.
Don't headbang too hard. It's really messy with long hair.
I have short hair actually, so I'm safe.
All
right.
Oh god, it's been so
Bye,
long.
guys.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Good to see you, darling. Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah, it's getting close to 3 in the morning. My cats are running around like crazy for no reason.
Howdy.
You drive around crazy like that all the time. I'll be back in a sec.
She's right. I found it on Google. They are pretty good.
Well, you've already heard them?
No, I just looked it up and started one song. Definitely going to listen to it later after all this.
Yeah, I like the name Noble Beast.
Yeah,
It definitely is a middle name.
I guess to go back to what I'm trying to conceptually say, I guess to give a little background on my thinking on all this, but just so you understand where I'm coming from, I come, I guess, from the traditional fundamentalist Christian conservative background, if anyone in the United States understands that, or Europeans might not.
Way too much.
Alrighty, yeah. Yes, there we go, the American gets it. But I eventually started red pilling, basically thanks to economic books I read, just some little ones, and I eventually moved into libertarian territory. But I've always been fascinated by the old common law concept of justice being impartial, and basically the idea that laws should try to be set up to basically make sure no one encroaches on each other. That's i.e. they don't steal their property, they don't harm each other, but do nothing more than that. And also enforce contract law, i.e. you said you're going to do that, you better do that. All civil societies that have been successful have had these generally two ethics as their background rock. That's where I have an issue with social justice, is it takes the concept of the sword only should be used to protect and try to use it to force something to happen.
That's why I consider that to be more of an extremist situation, to be fair. Yeah,
I get that, but a lot of the social justice concepts does come from cultural Marxism, which is very antithesis of common law of what the United States has been founded on, and a good chunk of the Western world.
Before we get to...
What a lot of that is...
We're not too focused on the cultural...
Is a lot of this with the SJWs, with the cultural... It's not... It has nothing to do with the merit. It's about the oppression Olympics. It's how fucking held down you've supposedly been. So that's where, affirmative action, we did that in America, and it's bullshit. It's bullshit. You should be able to stand on your own 2 feet.
That's I
They,
exactly agree, Phil.
that's
Yeah,
what they want to swipe it down. Like, they want to do away with that.
they were. Yeah, the
I
Supreme
mean,
Court kind of shut down a bunch of affirmative action stuff just recently.
Oh, they shut a lot down.
Yeah, and it was just like, the one hand I was kind of shocked they did it, but on the other hand, I'm a politicos, so this has kind of been my thing for years now. I look at it and go, on the one hand, this was kind of surprising to happen because it had been kind of how should I put it, given for so long. On the other hand, we have, as a society, achieved a lot more in terms of social progress that having affirmative action has become a bit of a crutch for some people, and has had a lot of negative impact.
well, I understand the social progress, but I feel that's more what should be pushed by discussion and debate in forums like Martin Luther King did. The only legal thing they needed to do was to stop basically the institutional racism by the government, which was happening during that time. That's all, and that's what a lot of the laws were about, written. And that's what I'm getting into is the government is not on the job. Well, it is in the job in a lot of cases of messing with society, but it really is only effective at governing the populace. It can't make it do anything, and when it tries, it
can't
fails.
micromanage.
No, it never can. It fails at it epically.
See prohibition.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, I get the ideals of what people with social justice are getting, but actually, I think that's more of you should try to remove it from the legal context of it, because we've got a lot of nightmare situations that are going to come to a forefront soon because of trying to make it legal or a law or whatever ought to be a law.
See what they recently did with the yes means yes stuff in California. I get the idea behind it, but there's so many ways it can go wrong.
Because they already have a fucking smartphone app for consension.
Actually, I think that might have actually come after the law was passed, but either way...
that legally holds no ground, yet it's going to be used. I see so many lawsuits going crazy over that.
Yeah.
But what I want to say is, like, for the whole cultural thing, it's been going right. It's been going in the right fucking direction.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. I will fully admit that, and that's what's actually got me upset at the social justice warrior aspect of this whole thing is I'm worried they're actually harming progress.
Fuckers acting like they've been oppressed.
Yeah,
but they don't fucking understand what it is. They don't fucking actually look at it. They want to do the oppression Olympics. That's what they want to do. But they haven't looked at it like gaming. I mean, from the start, there's always been women there. It's always been there. We've always been the most inclusive fucking group. Walking, I mean, Milo, like, literally within a month before he got into this, he was saying some fucking horrible things, and he's recanting.
He was messing us like crazy.
He fucking backpedaled his motherfucking. It's like, look, and if there it is, that's the microcosm right there. Is like, our media has put forth that narrative that we are these horrible fucking people, but he fucking did a Twitch.
Anything. Oh yeah, the stream.
The Twitch thing, and like he fell, like he fell for the culture because we don't give a fucking shit. You play the game, and yeah, that's the thing. Like, all these oversensitive PC nanny soccer mom motherfuckers on the planet don't understand is that we're hard on everyone, and we don't fucking care.
I mean, like I say,
well,
I agree that there's been great strides and everything, and that's what's got me so frustrated with this whole thing. Is I'm afraid they're going to stop the progress that was being made.
Well,
that progress in gaming was stopped, and I don't like to bring her up with Anita Sarkeesian. Stopped right fucking there. That was brick fucking wall, because that shit happened, and no developer, none in the media wanted to touch it and give the other side and go, well, she's a sketchy fucking person.
And that was the frustrating thing was that
nothing. She's a pop culture critic. She's fucking nothing, and they didn't want to touch it. And trust me, like, I'll flaunt it. I am a Bioware fan. Been on those forums for years. I knew some of those developers that worked there before they ever fucking worked there. I helped them with mods, and they fucking ate it up. And I've been in some knockdown, drag down fights with them over her.
I will say that has been sort of the biggest point of contention as far as me and the social justice thing goes. Is I did not like her original videos. I did not think she deserved a lot of the crap she got personally.
No one fucking condones the harassment or any of that bullshit. No. That's the thing.
But,
no one condones it.
I know. And by the same hand, like, she didn't deserve it, but I also didn't agree with her, and so...
Actually, can I jump in real quick?
Yeah, go.
I wouldn't say that no one agreed she didn't deserve it. The people who agreed she did deserve it were the asshole trolls. But, because we do have to admit, these are people, we have to deal with them at some point. However, with the vast majority of everyone who is reasonable and isn't raising hell just for the sake of lulz, is basically going, yeah, she shouldn't have received the amount of crap she got. Even if you're pretty much a given, you will get harassed at some point on the net.
Well, when you're a public figure, you're going to
you're going to get a lot more.
Yeah. It doesn't matter who you are, what your hobbies are, what gender you are. You're going to catch shit for it.
Yes.
The problem with gamers is the frustration is no one fucking wants to hear it. No one wants to engage with it.
Well, it's also that she basically ignores the history of gaming. I mean, it's the outsider point of view was so big with her. I mean, the outsider bias is what I'm really trying to say. She didn't know any of the major characters that a lot of male gamers like me associated with in Power. And I just sort of got going, how in the world do you not know of these? Like, never once mention of the great series Metroid, or of the recent redo of Lara Croft, or any of those, and just like, I'm going, are you not acknowledging that we have many successes? And that is just...
Because...
And then it was the fact that, and then it comes out that I'm not a gamer, I don't like playing games.
That didn't just came out.
That should have been the end of her career in this field.
Yeah, it's like, why does she keep getting... she can be a critic, but no one should take her seriously. She should be taken as seriously as people take Thunderfoot when he critiques her, which is frustrating because he should get more credit for the stuff he's done. Because...
No, well, I guess he got his Twitter bad, whatever, but, I lost my footing.
Yeah, but I think Anita's actually a topic for a completely separate stream if this is going to be engaged at all.
And that's why she keeps coming up, is because it's so frustrating dealing with her, because they made such a big stink about her. She is fucking everywhere, and you can't go anywhere. You can't even talk about sexism in game. Like, and there is shit, like, I mean, but I'm not saying it's bad. There's bad shit, like, beach volleyball or other shit like that.
Although we have to...
You bring that up, her name comes up now, and then the discussion is shot down because she is a fucking sacred cow.
Yeah.
Which that's another part of the reason I'm worried that it's actually halted progress is you can't even so much as question her without people coming down on you. Like, people aren't going to change their minds or ideologies without being able to question something first.
Yeah,
Well,
having the comments kind of set that off.
You even bring up the discussion about it without her there now.
Yeah,
And
but
that's sort of-
that actually kind of raises a question I've been asking for a long time, or rather a question no one was able to answer. Didn't we push back on that? I mean, not personally on her, on a person or what she did, but just a lot of people disliked that. A lot of people just didn't want to hear about her. But did we push back? Did any of us actually go out and write the publishers or the journalists, hey, we don't want to read about stuff like that. Don't put it on your website. Don't put it in your review.
No, but that was because we actually, at the time, we thought that the journalists were actually reasonable people, that they weren't completely obsessed with this clique of.
Or we didn't know they were involved.
Yeah. But in that regard, let me just play devil's advocate for a moment and just say that GamerGate, to a certain degree, is very much our own fault. We let it happen.
Yeah, that's given.
But then
the
problem comes in, though, if we did try to, shut her down and silence her, we'd be just as bad as the critics for silencing people from wanting to talk. There was nothing wrong with her talking. It's the fact that no one could talk back to her that was the real issue there.
No, I don't mean censoring. It's just
silence. It was my first dealing with this SJW thing. Was when NeoGAF silenced it, and I just was going, I did say some things borderline on the rules, but I was kind of going, why are we considering her serious? I don't see the issue, guys. And then I get bombarded and then banned, and I go, what happened?
And like I said, that's where the problem is. You're not allowed to question. You're not allowed to.
You're only allowed to listen and believe.
And it's sort of like that's not how society works. I get wanting to change society for the better. I get wanting to remove some of the more harmful aspects of it. But people are not going to change without question. The best opportunity, she had to further her goals, was to use the fact that people were asking her questions to educate people.
No.
But that would have actually involved doing real research and getting real statistics and not making stuff up.
Yeah,
she furthered
not
her.
being a noob.
She's making money, and she's fucking happy where she is.
Doesn't help that her significant other partner producer is. I've rarely try not to insult people, but he comes off as a total tool.
He's an idiot. He's Jack Lieberman. He's fucking Mr. Thompson 2.0. He's stupid like that. But there's a thing I want to go back to is gamers, we made this mess. Like, we let it go.
Yeah, but the question is why? I mean, were we already so disillusioned with games journalism in general that we just didn't see any hope? At least from my point of view, I really thought that I was losing touch with games because I was less and less interested in the games that came out, and I figured, hey, maybe I'm just outgrowing games. I figured that's just a thing that could happen.
For me, I'll tell you, is that I've always loved my games. I've always had my communities. I've always built my communities around letting everyone come in. And then, game journalism, like, that's the thing. Like, I could tell you when I was a fucking kid in the grocery store in the 90s, I wanted PC Gamer because it had the demo disc. It had good fucking shit. Yeah, the little monkey and shit you put on your PC and you fucking do the shit. I love that shit, and like
I hate to interrupt. Intel just released a statement on the whole Gamma Sutra advertising thing. It just popped up on the Intel newsroom
Okay, am I going to throw my laptop, or is this good news?
I'm reading through it. It's like, for the time being, Intel has decided not to continue our current ad campaign on the gaming site Gamasutra. However, we recognize that our action inadvertently created a perception that we are somehow taking sides in an increasingly bitter debate in the gaming community. That was not our intent, and that is not the case. When it comes to our support of equality in women, we want to be very clear. Intel believes men and women should be treated the same, and diversity is an integral part. If my thing dies out again, I'm going to be pissed. Is an integral part of our corporate strategy and vision with commitments to improve the diversity of our workforce. While we respect the right of individuals to have their personal beliefs and values, Intel does not support the organization or movement that discriminates against women. We apologize and are deeply sorry if we offended anyone. So basically, they are doing what I expected them to do. They're saying, we're not involved, we're just getting the fuck out. We don't want to be dragged into this.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we expected to see.
That's a blanket PR statement. There's,
Yeah, it's basically
That's why
Intel.
someone's paid 6 figures.
Intel has their own project and foundations to forward women in technology. They're very big on that. They have a lot of women on their board of directors, and I think actually a CEO or a CIO is a woman. So you can throw misogyny at them, it just won't stick. And they know that. They don't care for that. They have prepared for exactly something like that.
I'm going to be curious to see the fallout of that.
Here's the action. I'm linking it right now. Oh, here's the thing in the group chat. You can read it for yourself. Looks like they're not saying that actually came. Doesn't look like they actually. They're not accusing us of being of misogyny. They're basically just saying we're not getting involved. So stop trying to drag us into it.
Which means that if they keep trying, it's just going to piss them off.
Yeah, and honestly, I would not be surprised if Gamasutra and Co. keep trying, because that's their shit. That's their tactic. They want us. They will shame you. They'll shame you until you submit. Which, considering that the company, if Intel is A, run by a woman, B, it has more money and more legal influence than all the gaming journal sites combined, and C, really doesn't care about this thing other than the fact that the customers are involved, trying to shame them into coming back hat in hand to renegotiate a deal that was agreed to over a year ago is not going to work. It will not happen. Of course, I could be wrong, but I really doubt it will change.
Now, I'll say that
what happened was the consumers said, hey, look at what these people are doing. And now those people that were doing that are sending them emails. Oh, we're not that fucking bad. It's like...
You're going, we're not that fucking bad. They're evil. They're evil shit. And it's like, Intel's like...
You already spewed shit to the consumers. They knew that. They see that.
We're getting outdodged with our shekels.
It's basically the parent dealing with the two whiny kids.
I will say there's one thing that does scare me about this.
Hmm?
They don't say that Gamergate is a movement of misogyny or anything like that, but I'm worried some people might take it that way.
I guarantee you that the SJWs and the social justice clique will just try and twist it into that.
No, I'm more worried about people on Gamergate misinterpreting what they're saying, and
someone better get on the H.
That was clean PR wiping. I looked through it quickly. That is unbiased as you can get while saying, sorry, we'll let you both fight. I'm getting out of here.
I know, but let's be fair. We're dealing with the internet here.
Yeah, of course there will always be some people who get it and take it the wrong way, but they will be the minority.
Yeah.
And basically, that thing is pretty.
I'm sorry.
And honestly, even if there's some people who support GamerGate who do take it the wrong way, do we really think that Intel is going to care? So they get more hate mail. So what? It's not going to affect their decision.
They cared about a bunch of people coming and saying, look, they're treating us like shit. Pull your advertising. That's what they cared about.
Yeah.
We
That's
want
exactly what Operation Disrespectful Nod was about, was saying they're calling us your consumers bad things. And we never said Gamergate. I think remember that was never supposed to be involved. It was just saying, look at these articles. What are they doing?
Yeah, and now you have all these slew of articles on CNN, a New York Times blog, and all those little pretty little game journalist sites going, oh, look at them Intel siding with the evil sexist gamergaters and bowing to their pressure and all that crap, and I'm like, and Intel will give zero fucks.
You know what I'm feeling strangely nostalgic for?
Connections back to these people, fucking anti-gamergaters. They all have connections back. They all fucking work with that shit. Like, Intel said, no, fuck these people because they're fucking with our core consumer. And you know what? I don't have pity. Like, I like Gamasutra. That's something I've followed since fucking day one, almost. I'll tell you now. And there's been a lot of good shit, and I'll tell you, Leah Alexandra, like others have said before, she's made some great and poignant articles on gaming. But where it's gone, what they let her do, you're guilty by association. There it is fucking, you're guilty by association. You let her fucking get away with it, and then she did what she did, and yeah, y'all get fucking burned down with it.
Speaking of that name, that's another topic.
I don't want to speak about it.
That was another topic we wanted to cover. Should some of the worst offenders in all of this be fired?
Fired into the sun? Yes.
Yeah, that's actually something. Well, let's just tie it back to Leigh Alexander, because apparently she tweeted a list of ethics concerns in video games, and I mean, there are a lot of people who pulled some pretty amoral crap in the whole ordeal here, but there are just these sort of provocative offenders that keep. We know we have a ton of dirt on them. They know we have the dirt on them, and they keep provoking. They keep acting like they're the greatest people in the world. And
actually, Kotaku and Action just talked about that. I peeked over there. They're talking exactly about that.
What are they talking about?
Exactly what Angry is talking about. That we have them dead to rights, and they don't know what the heck to do.
Yeah, and they, instead of showing some fucking humility, they're throwing a temper tantrum.
And they are gathering on their friendships, and these people are protecting them. Yeah, no, like you said, dead to rights. It's fucking right there, done dead. And they are protected, and everybody else in the fucking industry is just, again, circling the wagons.
That's actually what I was wanting to get into, Phil. Thank you. It's the only way I think anyone's going to learn that is not involved in the industry. We're talking devs and some of the game sites that still are kind of like third party, though there's not many anymore on the game journals. The only way they're going to get the lesson is when the whole thing burns down, or at least it burns down enough anyone associated gets smoked by this. That's the only way they'll get it, I think.
How about we play it the other way around? How about we go no casualties? We play the Deus Ex Pussy run. We don't kill anyone. What's going to happen in the next 10 years?
Oh, dude, no. 10 years?
I don't think anyone's going to make it 10 years without one of the sites just burning to the ground or someone getting fired over this. I really don't.
I can't see that. I cannot see Rock, Paper, Shotgun surviving unless it has. Well, they're now being forced to dip into that subscription service stuff. I mean, look at if any of these sites goes down within 10 years, it'll be RPS.
Yeah, I mean, economic forces notwithstanding, I mean, how will the journalists behave? I mean, basically, we caught them red-handed, and we're standing there and they're waiting. What's going to happen if this whole thing blows over and nothing happens? I mean, I don't want to go out and say we have to fire a ton of people, but if no one loses the job over this, they will just think, "Wow, we got away with it." So they will just do it again.
And when they try,
That's
then what
I want to say is like, I mean, maybe people don't lose their jobs, but it's where finally gamers, like at least the involved gamers, because trust me, I mean, I got 200 people between my WoW, Steam. They don't want to hear about this except a couple of people, but they're out there. They want to hear about this. They want to talk about it. Like, it's there. They finally got fed up with this bullshit. Maybe not today people lose their jobs. Maybe not, in the past couple of months they will lose their jobs, but they're fucking getting hit. They're getting hit hard.
Actually, I think we'll see the opposite effect, because let's be honest, yeah, gaming journalism is basically a joke. I mean, they call themselves bloggers just to avoid the accusation of ethical failures.
Oh, they switch in and out as needed.
They're journalists when they can get press passes. They're bloggers when they're asked to actually maintain journalistic ethics.
Yeah, so I think they will actually just dig in. They know that with their reputation, they will never get a job outside of the field of gaming journalism again. I mean, no newspaper with any sort of credibility to its name will hire them.
No, you have experience in legitimate paperwork. I mean, and I know from my mass comm class and seeing the students in that, you got to have a lot of stuff lined up. And if you get blacklisted, or basically people dig around and say, you didn't do that good of a job, you were not credible, they won't touch you.
Yeah, and I will tell you right now, a lot of these people, they are blacklisted on any official publication.
Well, and this will haunt them till end of the days. And, like, if you're connected to it, you can't do it. Like, I mean, you know what? One of the greatest things they want to throw is that games have grown up. Well, fucking the gamers have grown up, too. And we're done with shit.
Yeah, but apparently the game journalists have, because they are behaving like 12-year-olds.
I wouldn't even say 12-year-olds, more like 5-year-olds throwing a temper tantrum.
And what I think is actually, if this thing blows over with, let's say, not just people fired, but just some repercussion on their end, they will dig in and just stay there. They will make sure that they will never lose those jobs, because they know they're the only ones they have. So I think if there are no consequences, it will just get worse exponentially.
No.
Yes, and anytime the next controversy comes around, they'll just demonize them the same way they did GamerGate and say, "Oh, look, it's the GamerGate crowd."
Because they've been demonizing gamers for years, but no, finally it's a thing. Like, GamerGate is a thing. Like, we're fucking done with it.
Well, the thing is, as you pointed out, not a lot of people are invested in this in terms of gamers. Gaming population.
Well, that's what I was.
If we ever get more interest next time.
But here's the circle is that there's gamers that follow all this shit. Like, I mean, I'm not even fucking. I never followed Kotaku, yes, all this shit, but all this shit blew down on me. Watching all this shit going down. A long time ago. It wasn't even like I said it in my introduction, was a fucking random post about Zoe Quinn. I went and looked, Wizard Chan, Jim Position, this shit, that shit. Like, it's putting those dots together how fucking cruddy it has become for my hobby. And it's there, and we've been pushing for, it's almost 2 months now. And it's there, and there's no slowing down. So
what kind of consequences should there be? I mean, if we don't, let's say we go for the we don't want to get people fired, but what can we say they should do with those kind of journalists?
It's
How
a
do we handle
blacklist.
them?
It is an internet
Reprimand them.
blacklist that people just put together from the ends of GamerGate, and we just have a source and our own personal docs on it. But basically, we'll just state this is why I don't like this area, and just keep it out there. That I mean, because sadly, I think this I've said in a YouTube video, shameless plugging, it's a Cold War. I don't think this is going to end as quickly as everyone bets. It's a Cold War, and sadly, the only way you win Cold Wars, we only have one history, is you outspend the other opponent or out-exist them.
Oh, to slightly go off topic, I'm going to look at this doing through the escapist. But apparently,
Your
Well, yeah.
audio is pretty distant
Yeah,
right
just-
now.
sorry, awkward positioning with the mic. Okay, so I'm looking at the escapist thread, and apparently Leia Alexander tweeted something saying, "Am I Spider Jerusalem yet?" Which is rather insulting. Considering
I'm sorry. What'd you say?
Leia Alexander tweeted out saying, quote, "Am I Spider Jerusalem yet?"
Oh yeah, I saw that on the escapist forums. I don't know, Spider Jerusalem is ringing a bell, but I can't quite pin it down.
Basically, I think, what's the, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, what's the man's name? Damn it. But think that one reporter on steroids. I can't,
Is it steroids? Is it adrenaline? I mean, Fear and Loathing in Vegas.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, what's the guy's name?
Yeah, I think she's actually.
It's Hunter S. Thompson.
Oh,
Is Spider Jerusalem is that character? He's basically Hunter S. Thompson on steroids.
Oh, I know. Oh, the guy from the comic book.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
According to her Wikipedia, he's a sarcastic, drug-addict, foul-mouthed, troubled, bitter, but deeply brilliant concert journalist with a deep-seated hatred of authority, political corruption, and dogs. I don't think Leigh Alexander has a deep-seated hatred for corruption.
No.
I don't think she has. What was the other one they said? A high level of skill or something like that.
Deeply brilliant? Probably not either. But the hatred of dogs, I could believe, yeah.
Deeply brilliant concert journalism. No. She doesn't have. Yeah. As I think the guy Slayer 472 on the Escapist said, yeah, if Alexander is Spider Jerusalem, then I'm the king of Armenia.
I'm sorry. I'm about to do something bad. I'm about to reply to that tweet.
If you do that, you will get her little social justice warrior army after you. You can look at them. They're
Don't
called
worry, H-Chan will collect it all.
Twitter handle abusive men.
No,
No, shitting you. They point you out and say you're a bad person.
What the panda said is, don't touch the poop. Don't touch the poop. Give them a voice.
You're right.
Don't touch it. Don't.
Ignore the troll, right. It's the same thing we had to deal with the ZQ back in the early days when she just keeps posting stuff and trying to get herself back in.
Don't touch it.
You're right.
All I'm doing now is tell others not to touch it. Don't let them.
Don't tweet to it, just make snarky comments in your forum and leave it alone. If anything.
That's fair.
That's what they live on, is that fucking reaction. They're fucking trolls. They are trolls.
I wouldn't even call them trolls. I would call them basically
attention whores.
Trolls, surprisingly, have standards.
Actually, I would just go with a broader term. I think they're just really morally bankrupt opportunists. because let's be honest, they don't choose a specific field because of an interest. They went for computer games or video games. I don't know. In Europe, we call them computer games, not video games most of the time, because there's a lot of money to be made, and there are a lot of uncovered spots where that money can be siphoned off from. They don't care about the area they're working in.
Oh, hi. Yes, like, oh, hi, yes.
Oh. Can I at least say the snarky comment I was going to leave?
Oh, go ahead.
She is not the Spider Jerusalem. She is the Glenn Beck.
Fair enough. I will allow it.
Honestly, maybe we should just go ahead to see if they would, if they would find a way to label that as abuse.
She would, but
yeah, but it's like, how can?
Because digging into my old fucking brain, the Spider Jerusalem, yeah, that's everything she wants to be.
Yeah, but it's everything she's not.
Yeah. That actually cast, I don't know who did it, but it was a psychiatrist, some pretty big nameful university, and what they did was basically make a psych profile of the house character, the brilliant misanthrope. And I think maybe she sees herself as something like that. She kind of knows she's not a nice person because honestly, no one can lie that good. But because of that, she tells herself how brilliant, how great she is what she does. Is a sort of justification for her bad trait.
So basically, it's lying until it becomes true.
Yeah. That's what they're trying now. Repeat a lie often enough, it becomes a truth. They figured if they shout misogynist often enough as gamers, at some point we will be labeled as misogynists.
Yes, and trying to shout that for the last 2 months hasn't worked yet.
Oh, NeoGaf bought the pill for hook, like and sinker. Their blue pill, literally heck.
Ironically enough, their founder is more of a misogynist than any gamer I've met yet so far.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, there was actually no abuse leveled at him, even though he had a very negative post that wasn't anything even GamerGate or the original Zony Quinn thing approved of. Like 4chan didn't have as bad as posts as he did originally when it happened, and yet he's scot-free.
Yeah, think of Iron Mouth John. He's basically a former white supremacist, and nobody says anything about it.
Not basically. He straight up is.
Yeah, the guy is a...
Yeah, he's Asian.
I'm like a banana. I'm yellow on the outside.
That. And that's another thing. Everyone has been talking about how you shouldn't side with Milo, or you shouldn't side with this. You shouldn't side with people like this. Like, look at the people you side with.
Yeah,
because they toe the fucking line. They preach the same bullshit.
Oh, they preach the same bullshit in public, and then in private they spew their own crap.
No, it doesn't matter what you do in private. It's what you put out on Twitter.
Well, they're basically following something like a social doctrine of self-assured destruction. The moment one person speaks out, the entire community is going to dogpile on them. So no one says anything, and that's why they can get away with doing horrible things, despite claiming to be such morally upright people.
The head of outsiders.
And
yeah.
I am so sorry for doing this, but it's like the brown shirts.
It's fine. It's
right there.
I don't get it. What is it? Brown cherries?
Brown shirts.
Brown shirts.
Oh.
How?
I will Goodwin it right now just to get it out the way. That's what they are.
Yeah.
Actually, that only brings to mind brown coats from Firefly for me, so maybe that's...
brown shirts are Hitler's group of the Nazi party that kind of did some of the dirty work.
They were the SA.
Oh, you called them brown shirts, Sturmabteilung. Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, we have a different. Yeah, we're English. Yeah, we
Is
don't.
that how you pronounce that word? Because I googled it and I'm like, what the heck is that word?
Yeah, it's Sturmabteilung.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I love
it's
German. I really do.
I hate German for the fact that I just can't fucking pronounce it. I don't have the tongue for it. Sorry, man.
It's a very hard language to learn, apparently.
You gotta.
Could be
yeah,
worse. Could be Chinese.
I could use-
technically English came from it, though.
English is a bastard language. That's
Yeah.
just said.
Oh no, and I love. There's a quote from somebody I read somewhere. Is for the United States is they took the Royal English, took it into a gutter, and raped it, and that's how the American language came about.
No, the one I heard was English takes all the other world's languages into the alley and then steals their lunch money. But
Right, yeah.
And then we invent all our own words that everyone has to basically get royalties from us.
Yeah.
I can't help it. I have to respect it, but I mean, Americans, we're just horrible people. Or
but we're monsters.
Oh, just look back for history, and all of humanity is just made up of monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah. The ones who just,
And you know
The
what?
blade is dog on top.
Ha! I've got another segue coming up. Just because something started out as a monster doesn't mean it can become a saint. And why the hell are they still calling GamerGate bad? Because it's apparently started from a misogynist.
Good point, actually.
Here's another funny thing. They say that, they said, what was it, 2-3 weeks ago that we should just change the hashtag to game ethics.
They've been saying that for weeks.
Yeah. Isn't GamerGate the third
Second.
hashtag under this whole thing?
Second
It's the
hashtag.
second.
The first one was Quinspiracy.
I thought before that it was
Something
Five
else.
Guys.
Conspiracy was
It's Five Guys, Burgers, and Fries, Conspiracy, it was interchangeable.
Then there was a lot. There was Conspiracy, Queengate, the Queen scandal, then there was the Burgers and Fries.
Just think someone
Five
who
Guys.
has media savviness.
that
came up with
hashtag,
GamerGate.
which, again,
Yeah.
like,
GamerGate
Twitter,
was the unification
everything
of all those hashtags into one.
Gamergate was the Gamergate hashtag. Like, there's a bunch of shit, like, and as people will want to tell you, it's something else. No. That's what it is. It's Gamergate. It's not any of that other bullshit.
I love how quickly game ethics basically dropped to 0 on Topsy.
It was just like,
Or Game Over Gate.
Yeah, no one wanted to touch it because it was bullshit.
and the only people who were touching it were the NeoGaf shit posters and some of the journalists, I think.
I don't even know why NeoGaf is even trying to play in 4chan territory. Like, they think they're right, they think they can shitpost, they think they can make another tag, and just even V of Infinity Chan, which is small, still has more vibrancy than this, quote, monster of NeoGaf.
Yeah, I mean, essay, something awful. Is it were the opponent of V? NeoGaf is a flea on NeoV's shoulder, at best.
The only thing that keeps NeoGaf even remotely relevant is Boogie himself.
Is he still on? Didn't they kick him out?
Hmm?
Didn't they kick him out from there because of a GamerGate comment? Or was it on Reddit?
Might be. Actually, I think they did.
Hmm.
Yeah, they did kick him out. Because of something he said on Reddit, which is kind of odd. It's like, if you didn't post it on NeoGaf, why the hell are you kicking him out?
So Boogie's not even on NeoGaf anymore?
Might not be. Not sure.
But something that actually kind of ties into that I wanted to bring up for a while is that we are actually, just for a very short window of opportunity here, living in a sort of weird internet, because there is currently no Anon. It has been fractured because of the exodus from 4chan, which I can only assume was a sort of tactic because, let's be honest, you don't fuck with Anon. So they kind of eliminated this force of nature for a while. It won't take long. It will reform on 8th-gen.
It will
So
reform on
they have
8th-gen and
a
other
short
boards.
opportunity to fix this.
It will reform, and it will reform with a vengeance.
Exactly. They will be out for blood when they're done building the base of operations again.
Yeah, here's the question though. How long has this been since the guys who were behind the whole Chanology and all that shit, they've been gone for a while, for the anonymous crowd?
I don't know. That's actually kind of an interesting internet historian question. What happened to the core group that made up that movement? Because that was fearsome.
You kind of lost you there for me.
Didn't quite get that.
Kind of lost you there for a minute. Maybe.
I'm trying to think, has anyone ever pissed off Anon this bad before?
And if we're talking in terms of B, no. But how you managed to piss off B, A, B, and almost all the other boards at the same time?
Well, that was Chanology, basically. That was the first time, not officially, but it's just the sheer number of people required to pull that off. Required basically all of 4chan.
Actually, from what I understand, that was mostly just B acting alone, which is why everyone gives B the grief, because that was where a lot of the raids were organized, if I recall. On my correctly. Nice.
No one's pissed off anything on 4chan to get the coverage that it's gotten.
This could be brutal when they win/if, more than likely when they reform.
Yeah, I think actually the fear date for the games journalist right now is something like 26th August 2015. Because if GamerGate doesn't work now, just wait for the year day. Wait for the annual.
Yeah, because
the 28th or something like that for the Gamers Are Dead articles, all that shit. But no, it's not going to end. Like, I don't think. I mean, we might die down, we might calm down, but I think it's there.
Well, think about it this way. Every time that, remember the article that came out a few days ago with Matt B saying, "Oh," and there, I think it was GC or CB Mag, basically saying, "Looks like the dust is starting to settle on the GamerGate scandal." Nope. Next day, we hit 60,000 tweets.
Yeah.
And those Alexios, like, yeah, it fucking skyrocketed.
Yeah, Pavlov.
Hate Twitter.
But I'm not quite sure how accurate the Alexa ratings really are by now.
No, but there's been twice now where everything was starting to die down and they declared Gamergate dead.
Yep.
And then a scandal popped up right after they said it. I forget what the last one was. I think the last one was the Journo Pro leak, actually.
That was it, and I think the one before that, there were the IRC logs, the 4chan logs.
Yeah, there was that. The IRC logs will kill it, and then people didn't give a fuck because it was bullshit. And then, oh, here comes Destiny, the most hyped motherfucking game in years.
Because it comes out of the guys who made Halo.
Like, everyone, fucking everyone I've talked to, it's just a mediocre piece of shit. And that pretty much reinforced the point. Like, all it was fucking hyped. All it was fucking hyped. And that's the thing, like...
Didn't they do the same thing with Flash Talks? They did the same thing with a lot of these games recently are just overhyped.
Yeah. It's what fucking happened at some point? Like, you put the money into the marketing, you put all that shit, and no one likes your fucking game, and no one wants to play your fucking game. Yeah, get the fuck out of it.
It worked the last couple of years. I mean, I don't know what the reviews said to Destiny. I honestly didn't watch because I really don't care for online shooters, just too repetitive for my taste. But yeah, it kind of fits the narrative. They were used to that. As long as you throw enough money at the marketing, you're gonna make enough money back. But I think actually GamerGate might have broken Destiny's back because it made so many people aware of that fact finally.
No, people have been aware of that, but people finally congregated to say, dude, shut the fuck up about that shit.
The interesting thing was
we don't care about the hype. We care about the fucking game. Because you know what?
Alien colonial marines happened.
Well, I'll go.
Dante's Inferno. It's just the same, completely overhyped. Compared to the hype they built up before, the game was crap.
I actually have the game, and it was a good game.
Look at Katana.
Yeah, I agree. Dante's Inferno was fine.
Yeah, but compared to the hype, there's always this the actual effect of something on the psyche is always the mixture between the perception and the goddamn what's it called in English?
Reality?
No. How much you're looking forward to something.
Oh, expectations.
Oh, expectations, right, thanks. So if you have very, very high expectations and the game comes out just decent, it still sucks. But on the other hand, if you have fuck non-expectations of something and it turns out decent, you think it's goddamn awesome.
I'll try to give them my drunk explanation on anticipation is how much you're looking forward to. Expectation is how high of a level you expect it to be. Like, you could be looking forward to a movie, but your expectations are it's going to be one of the best movies. Like, it's those levels. Like, it might be a B movie, it might be an A movie, it might be a triple A. But that's the thing with Destiny is that I've been looking at it for years and like that oh fuck, Destiny fucking just is on point.
The hype was basically
Borderlands did it perfectly years ago.
Yeah, with Destiny's hype it was, oh, this is from Bungie. These are the guys who made Halo, and it turns out you get Halo characters in Hood.
It's even more hilarious. Titanfall basically did this before Destiny, though it had good gameplay.
Yeah.
Which is
Titanfall
was the first hype of all this.
Titanfall has mechs.
Okay, yeah, it has mechs.
Yeah, that was fun.
I have to admit, the most recent game I've gotten that had a lot of hype and actually came out relatively decent. Call me a Halo fanboy, but I think Halo 4 was actually the one that did it well because you already knew that it wasn't the same studio making it.
I loved Halo 4. I'm not a Halo guy from the old days, and I just had an Xbox 360 because that duty and training couldn't have my PC. And it introduced me to Halo, and I went, oh,
yeah, but
so this was the new.
Did the journalist actually call out the industry on the entire idea of Halo 4 being bullshit since they said they would end it after Halo 3? I mean, just for me, I was a really big Gears of War fan, and I know this game takes a lot of flack because it's just another gray-brown shooter, but I love the approach to the grittiness of the shooter, and the series went pretty much downhill from part 2. Part 3 and the end was terrible, but they said it's over, we're done. Gears of War, the saga has ended, and 3 months later we hear, oh, but we're gonna do a pre-sequel with Barry on the main road. Where are the journalists calling them out on their bullshit on that one? If you say something is over, make it over. Don't keep milking it for money.
Because they're getting money in their pockets for it. Like,
yeah, the thing with games like Halo, the Halo series, there's actually a huge expanded universe for it, and if I recall correctly, the guys who got to Bungie to form 343 had actually planned for their second trilogy before Halo 3, because you have to remember they also came out after Halo 3, Halo ODST, and Halo Reach. Those are the last, and Reach is the last of Bungie production, so they were going to Bungie was going to milk that one for all it was worth, and then leave it to to continue.
It wasn't in Bungie's hands; it was in Microsoft's hands.
Yeah, but And I guess Microsoft actually did a half decent job.
Oh, they formed 343, and it has a lot of vets of the industry from many studios I like. Like,
Yeah,
it's one of the few studios I'm actually happy with, and wouldn't be surprised some of the people that have come from Microsoft saying the little white Xbox. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe some of them have been talking and are looking at
Again,
GamerGate in a positive light.
as one
yeah.
of the old fucks, like you look at Bungie, Marathon 2, like I love them
Mhm.
fucking games, and I love me Halo 1, and I love me Halo 2, and then at some point Microsoft gave up on not porting their shit to.
To
I
PC.
I am a PC gamer, and
Yeah.
I got
I
pissed
was,
at it. I was like, I like Halo 1. I played the fuck out that game with friends, either on their Xbox or on my PC. Same with the Xbox, or not Xbox 2, fucking Halo 2. I had to wait for that shit. Same with Mass Effect. I had to wait for that shit. And then that shit was
PC
buggy as
gamers get
fuck.
shafted a lot on the porting.
But PCs are making the kind of comeback. Not that what the PC elitists want to remember, but all that all that shit, like, I mean, fucking stacks up for somebody who remembers, who was there to see it.
Yeah.
There's one major example of the force of PC gaming, Star Citizen.
Damn
That's
right.
pretty much the kind of game you really can't do on a console, and fans just put down 50 millions for that thing.
Guilty
50
right.
millions.
I wanted my Ferrari in space, the M50 Origin.
I think I have what it's called, the freelancer, or what it is, the mercenary ship. Still waiting to be able to fly the damn thing. But this whole idea of console exclusive, and it was very strongly pushed by the Germans as well. I mean, just that's kind of what I meant with the whole memory lane thing. How many instances have we seen where journalists actively supported someone else than their audience, which are the people they should actually support?
Yeah. There's some it's like there's some games that just don't translate between console and PC well. I mean, you look at the MechWarrior franchise. They're great on PC, then they transfer the battle techniques to Microsoft on consoles, and it kind of just flopped.
Actually, I think Microsoft kind of broke its own neck in that regard. The moment they made the Xbox controller so easily usable on the PC, because let's be honest, the major advantage of a controller, and which is the major advantage of a console nowadays, because consoles don't plug and play, they don't just work, they are bug free, they only have the controller left. And the moment you have that advantage on the PC as well, why get a console?
Well, there's always been, like, I mean, it was harder. And I can't think of a time frame, but you could do. You know what the big thing is? Like, I'm gonna say is the USB, is that plug and play. Right
Yep.
there is what made the controllers so more easable for PCs. And that's fucking awesome because trust me, when I play the Arkham games or anything action driven like that on my PC, that's what I want.
Just to kind of abrupt segue here, but back to the whole Intel advertisers thing for GamerGate. In the Kotaku National Stream, apparently they have Oliver Campbell saying that it's a very interesting rumor is coming up that there's another big advertiser on it getting ready to fall. Not Intel big, but it's supposed to be really, really heavy. And he's also saying that devs are really pissed.
Oliver is saying that the devs are pissed because Intel pulled the support. Did I get that right?
The devs, don't know about. It's a 50-50 situation. Are they in the San Francisco clique, which we have to admit here, a good chunk of the industry is centered around the LA San Francisco clique.
You
No,
have Daniel Barr, who's
there's a good portion in California, but a lot of the devs, they work in different studios across the world.
That probably explains why Ubisoft is not even considered in all this.
Yeah. And then look at Rocksteady. I just said the Arkham games. They're in fucking England, and they haven't weighed in shit. And then, people like David Schubert, whatever, they see his Xeno design bullshit post, and they attribute that to BioWare. But he's BioWare Austin. A BioWare fan does not give a shit about BioWare Austin because they were made after EA bought BioWare. BioWare's been fucking Canadian, Edmonton, Vancouver. It's always been that way. He got fucking brought in for, Star Wars Online. That's what he got brought into.
Yeah, not to sound like the smug European here, but that GamerGate is very much an American problem. And like I said, studios from other countries they don't even come up.
Oh, it is, and it's partially because we've got, I don't know what it is, but for some reason most of, maybe not Europe, but most of the rest of the world doesn't seem to have our problem with, I guess, extreme polarization on the right and left.
That's actually kind of funny because from a European point of view, the American left was always, okay, they're bad, they're mostly the good guys. Obama at least he's sympathetic, he always says we instead of I. And now in this whole thing,
he's been embarrassing us.
In this whole thing, it's the American right side of the politics that's starting to look sane compared to the left extremists.
Wait, what? The Europeans are starting to see the American right as sane?
Well, the right middle, definitely. I mean, the Tea Party certainly not, but Adam Baldwin. Adam
Baldwin is actually pretty ideologically similar to the Tea Party. It's just the vocal people again.
As a political, I find that to be terrifying.
Yeah, that's actually what's happening. I mean, for me, it's also terrible that the term feminist has become slandered to an extraordinary and frightening degree. Just like leftists. I'm now more worried about people from the left going crazy than people from the right. At least, basically, the people from the right going crazy are loud enough from the start that you get it. Apparently, those from the left just sneak up behind you and scream "boo" in your ear.
Yeah,
they play too many stealth games.
At least the right, you know what their stance is because it's usually the religious right, which are the nuts and. You know the playbook they have. You don't have to worry about them doing something crazy or extremely out of left field. The extremists that seem to make up a lot of this clique we know the playbook. It's basically shame, and browbeat until your opposition comes in. But they do it in such a way that you don't notice it until it builds up to what GamerGate is.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of ties back to the original journalist. I mean, those were, as far as I got it, mostly leftist. At least that's from what I can find on Wikipedia on it.
Well, this is, I'll come in at this slightly different angle. I mean, I'm from traditionally the right, but I've swung basically libertarian or classic liberal because I just looked at stuff ideologically, and I've seen a lot of people similar to my age and thought swing basically not left, but towards down on the freedom diagram towards more libertarian or free government, but more social freedoms too. It's strangely not people in the left center, but the left extreme can't seem to swing anywhere but farther out. I've seen some very right people swing towards the center bottom for more freedom overall, but I've never seen it on the left for some reason. Maybe I'm wrong. Anecdotal here.
Speaking as
the left, like at least in America, we've gone way too fucking far left.
Well,
I'm
I
speaking
think
as a independent politico
with
who
good intentions to make it.
I think it kind of comes from a primary motivation point of view because the far right or the middle right part is usually more concerned about themselves. They want to make the world better for themselves, and they're pretty much upfront and honest about it. Well, most of the people from the left side, or what we could now see as the social justice warrior, the extremist left, claim even to themselves that they are doing it for other people. So they justify their actions by doing it for someone else.
it's all for the greater good.
Yeah, the end justifies the means.
Yeah,
And
now my 40K mind is going, oh god, social justice warriors are all town.
Yeah,
Well,
it's.
they justify it because I don't know. I think actually internet
Aristocrat?
Yeah, I can't say words at this point.
Yeah, Internet Aristocrat, I was surprised to find out where he was.
These are people trying to relive the civil rights movements. They're trying. It's the fucking oppression Olympics. Like, that's what they're trying to do, is do that right there.
Yeah.
And, like, as it has been said, it's all these white, mid-20s, little
fresh out of college
pieces of shit that just don't know what it is. Like, they just don't fucking understand it.
It's my generation. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, it might be some of my generation, though I'm a little younger than the rest of you. I don't know. I mean, I don't like saying right and left. I really think this is actually authoritarian thinking that they don't think is authoritarian thinking versus basically liberty or freedom thinking. Almost everyone, it seems, on the escapist forum, when they do the political diagram, they're all on the bottom part. They might swing variably from heavy right to heavy left, but they all believe in more freedom, not less.
I mean, they put
basically, I stood in the diagram. I've always been this way. I've been I've been one. However, I have never actually gone up and towards the authority. You rarely actually meet those types of people.
At least
I don't know why that is.
It doesn't actually have anything to do with political orientation, to left or right, but it really comes down to this authoritarian or liberal thing, because everyone who thinks he's speaking with authority will always demand things. Everyone who's speaking from a liberal point of view will suggest things, and it kind of comes down to that.
Yeah, classical liberal thinking, being free in thought and all that.
By the way, I don't know how you guys are feeling, but I would actually, here it's 1/4 to the full hour, I would actually end it at the full hour if you're okay with that.
That's fine.
Okay, I said about 13 minutes?
Something like that, yeah.
Alrighty.
So kind of going full circle on this, what do we think will happen next?
What I think will happen next is we will keep pushing it.
What I think's going to happen in the near future is one of the big sites is going to finally crumble, and that's going to cause headaches and some cheering.
Actually, finally now I can go in the record, because I've done stuff like that in the forum often again, and only it gets swallows up in the thread, so I can never say, ha, I called it. But I say we got another sucker punch incoming. They won't take the Intel thing lightly. They'll think about some way to get back at us.
They'll do another DDoS attack.
I think it's going to be more along the line like the gamer is dead thing on that scale.
If they try that again, they are insane.
Have you been paying attention the last 7 weeks?
They don't understand we've been building a huge fort, brick walls, earthworks, preparing for... You can't assault the same place again.
Oh, they just tried the DDoS 8chan and today.
Oh, they've already hit the
So
escapist once, but the
They
escapist
tried
kind of
to
said, "What you doing?"
They tried to call a Fortune 500 company misogynists.
supposedly,
No one thought they'd be insane enough to do that, and
supporters
they
of this
did.
so much.
And they have a six-figure PR guy over at Intel or gal that basically said, "Alrighty, this is why I get paid big figures." Writes a perfect paragraph and backs out.
It's just like we do not support hatred against women.
Well, even that like satirical, like that little article that was there the other day that people
The
thought
satirical article, yeah. I remember
was
seeing
fucking
that.
perfect, and that is the real CIO. Like, I mean, that woman is there. Like,
She is there. She
was
is.
fucking perfect. Like,
That was perfect
so,
Schadenfreude, but that would not have been perfect PR. Just to
Yeah.
Okay, I can't quite go into detail about what I think is going to happen without getting really dark and very tin-foily. But I think it's going to be something personal they will push in the media.
They'll push another. They'll try and push another woman up to hide behind. They're currently trying to use. I'm actually going to call it right now. They're trying to use Ray Alexander. If Kama Sutra ends up going down, they will use her and try to make a martyr out of her.
well,
Something like that, yeah.
and that doesn't work because they've been using Anita. They've been using Zoe. So if they want to throw fucking Lee out there, fuck her.
Who's got a
It's
worse,
already there. We
yeah,
know
who's got a worse
her.
reputation than.
Look. Here's the thing. Like, I mean, I have a memory like the internet, but the internet does not forget.
Oh, another quick note on the whole rumor that Oliver Campbell was mentioning. Reading this out the script, looks like it's not a. This next advertiser might be a hardware manufacturer, one who's really popular with the gamers.
NVIDIA.
Yep,
Wait,
that's what people are thinking.
why are they thinking that?
Because NVIDIA is
Um,
very gamer loyal.
yeah,
Nvidia? Oh.
Well,
if
Nvidia and Intel.
Nvidia and Intel, that would be scary, and I'm pretty sure that if that happened, we would see Twitter explode with if SJW rage.
Actually, that's something I've been trying to bring up in the forum, or meant to, that we should just maybe go onto Nvidia preemptively. I mean, who cares where they're advertising? We just go to them and say, hey, those are the sites you're advertising on any of them, fucking pull it.
Well,
Because Intel
Well,
is a
and then we
huge
kind
company.
of
They sell
preempt, and we kind
every
of
PC
preempted
needs
and kind of
chipset. Every PC needs a CPU, so Intel has a huge market in office computers and all kinds of stuff. They're not gamers are a very big segment of their audience, but they're not the core audience. Nvidia lives off gamers.
they
You're
are
right.
the
I
biggest.
have an NVIDIA Shield tablet.
Dude,
Yeah,
that's
they would
something
love me.
that, yeah, you just sparked that is people have been talking about, like, I mean, the big game publishers like EA, Activision, if they were to come down. But
Oh,
no,
looks like
you go to the hardware people, NVIDIA, AMD, Intel, they're the people above the developers. They're the people with the fucking hardware that go in the consoles.
oh,
That
also
is the
looks
fucking hammer. That is the sledgehammer right there. That's
also looks like
the
the
sledgehammer right there.
also looks like there might be some kind of grumbling from journalists are trying not to are grumbling at the YouTubers for the whole Steam curated thing, and they might be kind of start to grumble more directly towards gamers. I if they start
Well,
even and Valve just because it's TV or other YouTubers start taking over the hero review page,
they don't
I will just sit there. Okay,
voice
get
it.
them the
People,
get them these short
it
editors.
really is. Like,
So what are they? You were kind of breaking up there. What are they doing to Gabe?
They're basically They're basically well. It's that from reading. It sounds like they're starting to grumble a little more directly at Gabe for the Steam curator page, since TV is still occupies the top spot there by.
Why are they mad about this? He has probably, by statistics, logically the most vibrant community in the internet.
I'm looking at the Steam curator. He has currently above rock paper shotgun 6 times more for people supporting him.
And so what do they think Gabe's gonna do about it?
Well, they want to fucking silence him. Like to do with everyone everyone they can change or assimilate, they silence. We've seen that happen. I mean, just Thunderfoot, honestly, he made a parody video. Not even that, he made a critique video.
Yeah, but this is going after Intel all over again. Gabe is not going to take down Total Biscuit because the whole point of that curator page is to raise money.
Don't be so sure about that. The entire Greenlight idea, especially when they open the floodgates for the indie games, will be a lot of money for Steam, because maybe indie games don't go for that much, but people also buy them more often because of that. You easier spend $10 on a game you're uncertain about than $50. So that's a lot of money for Steam to be lost if the other indie developers who they can control to a certain degree say, no, wait, don't go on Steam.
But here's one problem with that, though.
Where are they going to go?
You go everywhere, and that's
they have no real other major market besides Steam. They don't have much other competition.
And that's the problem. Like, I linked the fucking
But that's sorry.
There was a stream. I listened to Total Biscuit, and he talked about that, and he flat out said, you need more competition because too many people go to Steam. They look at Steam. That's the thing. And I've thought about that for a while.
Yeah.
People won't touch your shit if it's not on Steam.
Yeah, but there's also a problem they can't fix. They can't go out and create a new CPU manufacturer, but they can advertise the hell out of an alternative portal to Steam. The journalists have that power, so they can create a new contestant and then match.
Yeah, and it's there. And he talks about good old games. Come on, that's in your back.
GOG, yeah, sure.
Yeah, fair enough, but I really want to get involved.
Yeah, it's there, but he actually talks about, he gets, when, people, and it's probably us Westerners, we're terrible, terrible fucking people stuck in our head.
Problems.
But,
You think the West is bad? Look at history.
Oh, trust. Oh no, I've looked at it. I know. Hey, you people from Europe, we got all our bad habits from you people. We just transferred it and went fucking apeshit with it.
Here's why I'm not worried about.
What I'm trying to get around to is Steam's been there. Steam was the forerunner. And then others are trying to fucking break into it, but everyone's like, oh, it's fucking Steam. They got the fucking monopoly. I love good old games. I love, I'm not going, I don't want to fight with people. I like EA Origins because it has stop. It has better customer service than Steam has ever provided. And other shit. And there are people they're trying to fucking break into that digital mode.
They could just say, okay, they team up with, let's say, EA. I mean, EA has put a...
I don't want them to team up. I want competition.
Yeah, seriously.
The journalists team up with them and, let's say, Origin. I mean, the stance from EA is still neutral. The comment we had was a personal comment from someone who works at EA. EA themselves have not said a single word. So what if they just bundle up with the journalists and promote the hell out of Origin?
Well,
And
they've been doing that. Like what EA wanted to do. Like I mean, they wanted their own digital
distribution system.
Yeah, that they wanted that, and then they did it. Especially because Steam became a fucking monopoly. Like it was honestly a monopoly. That's where PC gamers went to fucking get PC games.
And the thing is, they need to have.
And what Steam wanted was a piece of everything sold. So EA broke off. And I don't know. I lost my thoughts.
I guess I'll just go back to the topic before we segued into Steam and Monopoly situation and all that, where we want GamerGate to end at. I'm slightly cynical, but that's because of my political beliefs and such pour into this.
Yeah.
But as I said earlier, hashtag Fire Rises. I like everyone who basically even considered being on the anti-GamerGate, or what do we call it now? GMF, Gaming Moral Force or something.
Morality.
Basically, anyone who's attached to that is burned. Like I've seen people burned in other places for other silliness. You can't go anywhere. You're done. To be a warning to anyone to try this again.
To the words of someone, you will never work in this business again. Which is an unfortunate thing, but oh my God.
Because I feel that's the only way they'll learn. That's the only way they'll learn. That's all I need to say.
I mean, with the attachment they have now to corruption, like even just the rumor of that sort of thing is enough to tank a journalistic career. So they are blacklisted at every non-gaming publication. There's no escape.
Surprisingly, unless you're Leigh Alexander, who somehow still has immunity.
Is she writing for anyone other than Gamma Sutra?
She's writing for like Time, Guardian, a whole bunch of other stuff, but this was before Intel pulled this advertisers. I don't know if they'll let her back on.
The Time was freelancer, and the Guardian, well, the Guardian's the Guardian, so take that with salt.
Yeah.
Well, no, they don't cut that shit in England, but her ties run deep.
Yeah, she's got some real clout. Not sure how much help it'll give her if this keeps going.
No, and I don't like to beat somebody down, but that's somebody that just needs to be put in their place.
I wouldn't say put in their place, just knocked down a couple of times in terms of
put it in her place.
She is in for a rude awakening. I have faith in that.
And that's the thing, like, actually looking over some of her older articles, like, it's good. I mean, it's good about game design, it's good about the industry, and just seeing where she's done the past couple of years.
So, are we going to be wrapping up soon?
Yeah, actually, since we seem to have come to an end point of a specific topic, I don't know. Anybody want to bring something else up before we close this thing?
I just want to say one thing before we close. To anyone who is listening to us live or recorded, please do not harass anybody.
Yes, don't harass anyone who we mentioned in this broadcast. We do not need them getting hurt. Ammunition, I don't need them. Just harassment in something like this does not help. It will just make things worse.
Yeah, harassment is not okay, no matter which side it's coming from, no matter who it's aimed at. That's just something. If you're pissed off enough to do something like that, just turn off the PC, vent your anger somewhere else, I don't know. Go running, play a game. Don't harass people, that's bullshit. And it's just, if you do it, you're a jackass. Sorry, but Snarky
Go
comments,
become-
okay, but going out and harassing people, that's just fucking uncool.
Just go
Exactly.
beat down some noobs in Call of Duty or whatever. Make
Fire up,
them rage.
Fallout 3 and pull out the Fat Boy.
Yeah.
Or if you're a Halo fanboy, just go get on Halo, kill some grunts.
Punching them. So lovely.
Is it wrong that I feel that actually has to be said?
Yeah, it does feel wrong that it has to be said, but this is the internet, and I'd rather have them have it do it this way than have the internet act like it always has and be
I know, and
told.
it just pisses me off that you have to preface your shit, like don't harass somebody.
Well, as I said in, I think my first video I put up on YouTube, it's we don't need to play by their tactics, but we also need to be slightly on the up and up, even though I guess what I was saying is we don't play fair, but also kind of don't give them the idea that we're playing dirty either, because they don't like how we're playing with GamerGate. This unorganized, random, oh, let's make a stream together. They hate that. They want a target, and
Yes,
they can't get a target. They can't hit anything.
Yes, make them, whatever you do, play on the up and up. Be polite. They can't handle it if you're being the good guy here. Because attacking someone.
Handle you talking to them.
So what you're saying is we should weaponize nice?
Yes.
Pretty much. And then at the same time, discuss everything.
Weaponize that already. So.
Except we actually be nice and then critique everything from there.
Yep.
Yeah. Fuck nice. Nice is no fun.
It's fun. It's not fun, but it works.
Oh, trust me, I've been killing people with nice before you knew what the internet was.
Fair enough.
Alright,
All
well,
right, I guess that's it. To all listening, thank you for listening, and to all listening to a recording, thank you also. And from me, that's goodbye.
Yep, thank you.
send us
Maybe
any
get
feedback.
food and do
Feel
some
free to send us
push-ups.
your feedback, and who knows how the it will end. As the Den Master says, we'll see. Goodbye.
And maybe, I'm on the escapist. Until you request, I can be around other times. Maybe you won't fucking catch me when I'm not all shit-faced and drunk. I'm sorry, you guys, like, both times this happened is, like, I've tried it throughout the week, like, tried the discussion, but